Alrighty.
Fuck. What the fuck is the picture you tweeted
Hold
out?
on, what fucking
This
picture
girl
did you
is
choose?
falling through the floor.
I finished this just in time.
Oh,
Oh, let me see.
I fucking hate you,
Oh,
Pumpkin.
you saw it.
Oh, hell yeah. That's looking great.
He always does. I need to draw him pretty or else the world will end.
Oh god. I go. Alright, there we go. Alrighty. Well.
Hold on, I'm not ready.
Well.
Get ready, I don't fucking care.
I'm not ready.
Slay. Literally. I mean, a ghost.
if Delphine has anything to do with it.
I
Wow.
just
She better not have had anything to do with
wrong
this.
with you.
Well, this being said, my good friends, Percy, what are you doing now that we're leaving off of there are carts being pulled into town containing multiple bodies, priests carrying what looks like very non-responsive forms into Edenius's church. You're standing out in the street. What's good?
You said that there was a familiar tiefling.
There is, on one of the larger carts, their bodies kind of very carefully positioned, carefully stacked upon each other, and you can see Maddie's like lilac kind of skin amongst the pile of people.
Percy.
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. Percy has, as soon as he has spot, Maddie's form, he has, like, he was probably, like, leaning against some crates, and he's just kind of pushing himself off the crates, and he's, like, beelining for this cart, and he's, like, yelling for whoever's, like, manning for the cart to, like, stop, and he's running right up to where, Madeline is laying.
Percy, you find Maddie, she's kind of like laying on her side in a way. She's been very carefully positioned by whoever found her and placed upon the cart. And she's kind of like laying in a way where she's laying on her side, but her head is like, her face is like face down, is like more face down than the rest of her, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Once he has whoever's like driving the car have they like stopped?
Yeah, they noticed you and they've stopped.
Okay. He kind of like runs up. He kind of like he takes a hold of like Maddie's like arm, and he's like he's like looking for a pulse. So he's just like no, Maddie, no, come on, Maddie, like just trying to find any sort of like figure out like is she injured or is she dead. And he's hoping she's just injured.
Percy, when you pick up Maddie's arm, she feels blazing hot, like nearly almost like not painful to touch but uncomfortable. And as you kind of take a hold of her, you notice that like the veins in her arms are glowing like a bright gold color. You can see a little bit like you can see kind of like the tips of her fingers are kind of a little bit gold, and you can see like the veins in her body are kind of flushed that same gold. And you can hear her like kind of cough and wheeze in a way, and her body seems to like twitch in response to you touching her.
There's like almost like a relief to like not a relief to seeing like obviously the fucking gold in her veins, but like seeing like she's moving, she's like coughing, and he drops her arm, and he like kind of gently as he can like grabs like her head and like kind of like turns her like face so that he can like look at her, and he's like, Maddie, what's happening?
Percy, when you hold Maddie and you kind of turn her face towards you, you see that her eyes are like this pure glowing gold color. They seem to like they're like illuminated with this dim, eerie light. and thin golden cracks kind of travel down from the bottom of her eyes and down her cheeks. And as she tries to speak, she kind of begins to cough and gag, and like this molten gold fluid kind of trickles from the sides of her mouth and kind of globs down her chin, kind of like runs between her teeth, and she goes, burns when I breathe. And she is just like barely able to like communicate this to you.
He's like kind of like turned her to her side, so like whatever is like coming out of her has more easy access of like she's like basically trying to keep her from like choking on whatever it is that's coming out. He's like rolled her kind of like yeah.
She's just heaving, breathing really hard. You can see like priests kind of like working to like unload the carts around her. They're taking people who look very similarly that look very similarly to her condition, essentially. They're like bridal style carrying them into the church, frantic. You can see as like you kind of like turned her over, the front of her like of her like dress is like stained in dark red blood.
Percy kind of like works to start like gathering Madeline up into his arms, and as he's doing that, he's like, "You're gonna be okay. You're gonna be fine. You're gonna be just fine. We're gonna fix this." And he's just gathering her into his arms to carry into the like where the other priests are carrying others.
Alrighty, and as Percy's dealing with that, where are the others? What are you all doing?
How early is this in the morning?
It's like, I'd say, probably like 5 a.m. It's pretty early.
Micah's still conked out, baby.
Oh my god.
Oh no!
Oh no.
Do you think he gets up before 7 a.m.?
Okay, I got a question. Is Micah more of a honk shoe or a snork me me me?
He's more of a snork me.
That tracks.
Snork meaning me derogatory.
Yeah,
Oh
I was Fraz, are you calling? Wait, I can't say that on Twitch.
No, you cannot! No, you can't!
Are you saying that my character is fruity? How dare you?
Are you saying that he may perhaps sort of like men?
Are you saying that he might be in a homosexual relationship?
Are you saying
Yeah.
he's not the butchest?
He's not the
Oh, woman is dying.
Sorry, Laura, woman is dying!
As he's like on his knees crying in front of his dying friend, and the rest of the party is having
He's
an
like,
argument over how mask Micah is.
I will say
I love this.
Is there any like you said that people are carrying people into the like temple? Is there like a commotion? Is it loud?
It's fairly loud. Like, people aren't like, it's more like people are like screaming at the top of their lungs or anything, but you can like if you're awake and conscious, I suppose, like, it would definitely draw your attention. There are people like shouting like, "Oh, get the healers, like, quick, bring them into the temple," like things of that nature.
Okay, he'd probably wake up then. He's a lighter sleeper, but kind of just roll over and like take a peek out whatever window is closest to him, and upon seeing the bodies piled in carts, he'd probably just kind of rush around and try and pull on clothes as fast as he can to get down to the street level.
All right, how about the others?
Pike's probably come over to see what's going on, and will join Percy and do a medicine check on Maddie, if that's alright.
Yeah, go ahead. Do me a medicine check.
yeah.
Gonna be honest, while that's not the best roll, it's pretty obvious to you, Pike. There is like a large, you can like see from like the tear, in, Maddie's dress, like on her abdomen, that there's like a giant gash in her stomach, where it seems that some kind of like sword or some kind of weapon, bladed weapon, has been like thrust into her midsection.
Pike's gonna cast Cure Wounds on Maddie.
Alrighty. Pike, it does help a bit. It helps stabilize, the wound a bit. She's, it seems that some, healers have tried to, like, get to her beforehand, just to make sure that she survives the trip out. You do help stabilize her a little bit more, though. What are Delphine and Wander doing while Pike is helping, Percy and Maddie?
Delphina is already awake, and so like hearing the kind of commotion, she like kind of peek her head outside, but then like seeing what's up, she doesn't like sprint over to investigate, but like seeing Percy kind of run over, she like picks up her pace a little and like kind of heads over upon seeing the state of Maddie, and that Pike and Percy are kind of, I don't want to say taking care of Maddie, because Maddie's clearly not being taken care of yet. But like like that she's kind of like, she's gonna like step to the dude carrying the cart and ask them like, what happened? Where are all these people from? What happened to her?
You can see the driver of the cart, kind of like give you a nervous glance, and like, some fellow came up to the road and, got contact with the guards that were traveling, on the road, said that Rosefield had been attacked. We're not exactly sure what happened yet. We've just been trying to get these people to the cathedral as quickly as possible.
Is Percy hearing all this?
Yeah.
Noted.
You definitely hear that he said these people are from Rosefield, so...
Where's the person who told you Rosefield was attacked? What, is he here?
He kind of like points like inside the cathedral, Delphine, and he's like, "Oh, was it?"
She's on her way.
Oh god.
She just fucking leaves.
Yeah.
Like, oh, he's over. Oh god. Okay. Goodbye.
Did this person say who had attacked, who they were attacked by?
I'm going to be completely honest. I was just kind of told to help load the carts. He's in there if you'd like to talk to him. I think healers are tending to him right now.
Like a statement, Percy.
What's Wander doing?
I'll just assume that, like, Caspian woke them up or something, because it's 5 a.m., they're not fucking awake.
Yeah, probably. He probably went to go grab you, and is taking you down to the cathedral. Delphina, you,
Fraz said BRB real quick to get
Oh,
food.
okay, never mind. Delphina, you're not doing anything.
Not even in the Roll20 chat. My head.
No, she is. Oh no! Oh, me! You're talking about me.
Yeah.
No, I can see it. I can see it from my thing. I'm looking at my monitor with my script on it. Micah and Percy. Percy, what are you doing with Maddie?
Maddie is bringing. Percy's bringing Maddie into the cathedral.
Okay. Percy, you bring Maddie into the cathedral, and you can see it is just overwhelmed completely. You see, people are like laying on. You can see that people are like laying on like blankets. Priests are like tending over people, trying their best to take in as many as they can and give them what little help that they can on the spot. Every table is like, has had like the contents like thrown off, and a body placed on it, trying to stop the bleeding, trying to figure out what the fuck is leaking from their eyes, from their mouth. People who don't have this strange like golden influence on them are like mortally wounded, clutching like wounds on their abdomens. It's havoc, in here, essentially.
Percy's just gonna like beeline for like whichever priest is like not occupied right now. He's gonna like beeline towards them and like basically like just kind of like not throw Maddie at them, but it's like
He
it's
uses
like
one woman at them.
it's like basically
tiefling
like
woman.
you're gonna help.
You do eventually manage to find a priest who's like stabilized someone from town. And they take Maddie from you and kind of like lay her on another makeshift cot and are like trying to tend to like the giant like rip in her abdomen. And
Percy's staying like right by her side, like right by like this like her side on the cot. He's not leaving.
Percy, she like reaches her hand out very
He
like
takes
shakily. Once again, her hand is still like scalding hot.
He takes it in like both of his hands and he's like holding on like not tight enough to like hurt her, but like he's holding on. He doesn't give a shit how hot her hand could be scalding right now and he's still be holding on.
Percy, she looks at you and with like these thick drainings of like gold running down from her eyes, she goes, Baxby, they wouldn't let me see him.
Don't worry about that right now. You're just focus on getting better. You'll be fine. You focus on recovering right now.
Delphina, you said you were looking for the person that the car driver had pointed you towards, right?
Yes.
You kind of like make your way through this waiting room, essentially filled with corpses and bodies and priests frantically trying to fix things, and you see someone like a very, very thin, very kind of young looking elven man. He's got kind of like long gray hair. And his eyes are very, like, clouded and white. And he's kind of just covered in blood and, like, staring off into the distance in front of him.
He's gonna kind of march on over to him and grab him by the shoulders and, like...
Oh my god!
Not like bully him, but, like
God.
grab him by the shoulders and, like, put herself in his field of view. And is like, are you the one who helped get these people here? Are you the one who saw everything first?
Delphina, DeVale doesn't, like, doesn't seem to register you there at first, but he kind of looks off, continues to, like, stare off into the distance for a moment, and, like, slowly turns his head towards you, and, like, slowly nods.
He, like, takes a deep breath and, like, slowly nods her head. It's like, okay. I need you to tell me exactly what you saw. Who did this? What did this? What happened? Wait, is he also, like, all golden and bleeding, or
No.
is he just kind of fucked up mentally?
DeVale has always been a little bit interesting, but DeVale's he's more just so startled, not rattled,
Okay.
as it were. Delphina, this elf kind of, instead of like answering your question verbally, he like extends like a hand out to you. Like, kind of expectantly.
He's going to very gently take his hand in both of hers, like, and, like, kind of grip it. It's like, and just looks at him, like, kind of expectantly.
Delphina, as you take DeVale's hand, you are suddenly overwhelmed with a vision. You are kind of taken into this view of, like, back to Rosefield, where Percy had taken you guys in the beginning. And the air is very gentle and still, and all seems to be very calm. People tend to their chores and business as usual. And there's just a very soft, calm aura about this vision that you have. Until there's a very soft rumble in the distance, and it starts to become louder and louder. And you kind of see everyone start to kind of like poke their heads out of their windows, or out of the doors. Maddie and Baxby kind of like wander outside of the tavern to investigate the oncoming noise. And in the horizon, approaching, you can see paladins accompanied by several knights, and a large horse-drawn cart that looks like it has like a giant like iron cage kind of like welded to it in the back. They slowly kind of stride down this path into Rosefield, and Maddie, Baxby, and several others from the town seem to be slowly coming forth to greet them. And Maddie kind of like wipes her hands on her apron that's kind of tied around her waist. She kind of pipes up and tries to make her voice sound as stern as she can. And she kind of like approaches the paladin leading the charge. And this paladin is very large, like Alexander was. He's dressed in this dark blue armor with a lot of sun symbolisms engraved into it. And once again, stands at least like 7 feet tall, completely towering over her. And Maddie kind of stands up to him, even though he completely dwarfs her. And she's like, "If you're looking for any of your monsters, you won't find them here. I'm not looking to entertain any of your beast hunting nonsense this morning, Aldrich." And the paladin is kind of silent for a moment. His armored face is kind of like tilted down towards her before he goes, "'Tis not monsters we hunt today, little one." And his clawed gauntlet hand seems to come to rest on the hilt of his sword. And you can kind of see Maddie kind of like take a nervous step back. And he goes, "I'm not blind to your behavior here. We know you've been aiding monsters, helping them slip from the justiciars and letting them loose into the other cities. Alexander has chosen a sweet mercy for you all. And this," and he kind of like looks disdainfully around the town, "squalorly town of yours. We merely ask that you take the knee and pledge to abide by Idris's law, and your sins will be forgiven. The temptation of the wicked could leave even the most righteous astray." And you see Maddie scowl, and she goes, "I'm not going to let you barrel through here and push these people around for your own enjoyment, Aldrich. Turn your band of merry men around and leave." And the paladin continues to stare down at her, his head kind of tilted curiously to the side. And before he can even respond to her, the blacksmith kind of like begins to push his way up to the front of the small gathering before the paladins. And he gruffly goes, "She's told you to leave. We're not going to stand for this anymore." And the paladin turns to the blacksmith, and he goes, "You consider yourself a just man, do you? Righteous and sound?" And the blacksmith kind of looks a bit taken aback by such a question. But he goes, he just kind of like nods, and the paladin stands up very straight, shoulders back, and he goes, "Good." And before anybody can reply or even move, the paladin reaches forward, grabbing the blacksmith's face in his clawed gauntlet, just completely palms the entirety of the front of his head, and this kind of golden beam of light kind of glares around his fingers, and the blacksmith only has a mere second to let out this like cut-off scream before his body like violently ruptures into a heap of blackened bone and ash. You can hear Maddie let out this like loud choked "Run!" and the crowd scatters, and you can see the paladins and knights essentially descending upon the town, grabbing whoever they can manage to get their hands on. Aldrich grabs Maddie, his hands kind of like clasped around her head, like holding it firmly between two hands. And though she struggles, she's kind of helpless in this ironclad grasp of this paladin. And that same golden light that had consumed the blacksmith kind of cracks upwards towards her eyes and kind of fills them with this blaring light. And he drops her on the ground as the gold kind of cracks through her skin and kind of fills her eyes and her mouth. And all around her, the paladins are doing the exact same thing to the whichever like citizens they can get their hands on. And Aldrich kind of like crouches down, and he looks at her as she's like kind of like shaking and convulsing, and he goes, "I will give you one more chance, little one. Will you bend the knee?" And Maddie, with what very little strength she has left, kind of like lifts her shaking head, and she kind of gurgles and spits directly into the paladin's face.
Hell yeah.
Roll off it.
Aldrich kind of like stands, sword gripped in his hand. He's holding the handle as hard as he can, and he lifts his sword up over his head with both hands, and he thrusts this blade downwards into Maddie's gut, splattering his armor with blood and essentially like pinning her to the earth. And suddenly a rock kind of like clangs at the back of his helmet, and he kind of spins around, and Baxby is like standing behind him, clutching a rock in his small hand. And Aldrich strides over, and the old gnome really is not much of a match for this massive armored paladin at this point. And Aldrich kicks him hard, sending him skidding into the ground, and the paladin lifts his large, heavy boot and slams it down hard straight through Baxby's midsection, as though he were just this tiny cockroach, and it makes a very sickening crunching noise. The paladins kind of just take their time capturing the townspeople, and you can hear Aldrich commanding them to take the uninjured corrupted back to Alatanos, loading them into the large caged cart. And among them, you can see a young dwarf woman, a young gnome woman, and a very small, like, gnome child. Their eyes also glowing that familiar soft gold. The rest of the townspeople seem to have been left scattered, bleeding to death in the grass. And Delphina, that vision fades, and you stand right next to Deville, who kind of very slowly pulls his hand away from you.
He kind of like takes, like, inhales, like a breath she didn't know she was holding, and like lets out a shuddering exhale before like pulling the poor kid into a hug, like a very, very tight hug, and just kind of like whispers to him, it's like, "I will make sure that paladin's blood drenches Alatanos."
Delphina...
And she's...
Oh, go ahead, sorry.
Oh, no, she was just gonna step away.
Yeah, he doesn't seem to, like, respond to that. There's still, like, a deep, like, wash of shock that seems to have, like, rushed over him, that he's still not really properly processing, and he kind of just leans back against the wall.
He is going to turn around, and how far away is Percy?
He's probably, I'd say, like, Devea wasn't, like, sitting too far away from, like, where Percy would have been, like, or the priest would have been tending to Maddie, I should say, so maybe, like, 15 feet away.
Okay, and is Eudenius in the chapel, or chapel cathedral?
You're gonna have to look for Eudenius.
She's gonna grab the nearest priest, doesn't care what he's doing, she's just gonna grab him. Like, where's Eudenius? I need him now.
You can see the priests kind of, like, they're, like, covered in blood, and, like, glancing around, and they, like, point, to the very, very far back of the room, where Eudenius is, like, kind of standing and, like, facing the wall, but it looks like he's kind of, like, holding something.
He's gonna look between Eudenius and Percy for a moment and, like, debate something.
I don't know.
Is this another coin flip?
Isn't there
And
what?
then
Is this another coin flip?
No, this is not. This is not, I promise. Yeah, that'd be great. Fucking steal the flower while there's
Oh my
dead
god!
bodies all through the wall.
That's not what I meant, but
Imagine the drama.
I think that would really throw you for, wouldn't it?
The
Pumpkin?
most devious slick there is. Steal from a man while he's trying to help the innocent that have been butchered by religious zealots.
You slick. Fucking hate you. She's gonna quickly go over to Percy and, like, kind of, like, just gently grip his shoulder to, like, offer, like, a sense of comfort, but also, like, try to get his attention and, like, get him to look up at her.
he gives like a quick glance over to you to acknowledge that he's aware you're there, but he's mainly keeping his focus on Madeline. But
She's gonna sigh and, like. So is he, like, sitting down right now, or is he, like, standing?
probably like kneeling besides, depending on
Okay.
how like large the cot is. I assume he's like on his knees.
Yeah.
Okay, that's kind of what I pictured, but I didn't want to. Okay, she's gonna, like, kneel down next to him and it's like, Percy, you have to let these healers work. You have to let them work it right now and
I'm
let
letting
them
them
have
work.
theirs.
I'm letting them work. I'm not getting in the way.
No, you're not. But you could be doing something about this. We need to go talk to you, Dennis, right now.
I can't leave her right now.
Delphina, I'll go with you. Just
Percy will want to know what I have to say.
Percy, do you
I-
have the mental bandwidth to take in anything else?
I'll catch up later. I'll catch up with what's going on.
I've
can't
seen
correct
who's done this.
What do you mean?
She'll, like, kind of turn around and point to the essentially catatonic kid. Is he a kid? I don't know.
Like, really,
He's a kid to me.
He's pretty young, like 17, 18, like late teens. Pretty young.
Yeah, I was gonna say, in my mind, this is like a teen kid.
Yeah.
But
Percy
you
kind
guys
of-
just
Like looks over and there's like kind of a look of like acknowledgement towards the kid, like recognition actually with the kid. And he kind of looks back at Delphina. He's like, I will catch up. I'm not leaving her.
you're not Dawdle. I understand. And she's gonna stand and look to Micah and is like, Are you gonna come with me then?
Yes, Delphina, I did just say so.
Can
I
Wanda
didn't-
try some things while like everything is happening?
You absolutely can. What would you like to try?
First they want to use some points from their lay of hands pool to like attempt to neutralize like a disease or a poison, see if that's what the glowy thing is.
Yeah, go ahead.
That is what they're doing.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I thought you were gonna put something on
No.
thing. I'm like, anyway.
No, that's what they're doing. They're
Okay,
using
got it. Wander, that does absolutely nothing. From that, you can kind of tell this is not any kind of, at least in the traditional sense, poison, and it's not any kind of disease.
Well,
Percy asks the priest if the priest knows what like what's going on, like what's happening.
You can.
Percy will do that then. He's just like, what is happening? What what is happening to her, what's happening to everyone else.
You can see the priest. There's kind of like sweat kind of like glistening on their brow, and they're kind of like very busily like stuffing gauze into like the wound. And they kind of like glance at you, Percy, and they're like, I'm going to be honest, I have no idea.
Is she going to be okay? Is she going to survive this?
And he's like kind of like wipes off like wipes his forehead with the back of his hand and like leaves like a red smear of Maddie's blood on his head, and he's like, I'm not telling you not to have hope, but we're way out of our element here. I've never seen anything like this.
Percy's just like holding on to her hand tighter, and he's just willing that this will be okay, that she will be okay, and like giving Maddie like reassurances that like she's going to be okay, that this is going to be fine.
While Delphina and Micah are making their way over to where Eudenius might be, Micah's gonna have Smudge stay behind, and he can cast through Smudge now, essentially, because of Enhanced Bond. And he's gonna have Smudge use up all of his first level spell slots casting Cure Wounds on Maddie, which is, let's see, that's 4. Wrong one.
Burning hands.
No. And because of Enhanced Bond, that is also a D8 added to each one of those.
Burning hands fucking killed me.
Burning hands cauterizes the wounds.
Don't worry, Percy, I'll cauterize the wounds, sets her ablaze. Micah, there's definitely like a very like visible like kind of relief in Maddie's body as you kind of cast it on her. She's still kind of like trembling, and still definitely like visibly does not look looks pretty rough, but your spells do kind of seem to have a much kind of give her body at least a little bit of ease from whatever kind of like agony she's in right now. The wound kind of like not fully healed does seem to be looking a lot better.
Alright, and Micah's gonna continue onward, but kind of like instruct Smudge to stay there and with Percy and kind of like offer support.
Alright, Delphina, were you...
She's all business. She's on her fucking way to Eudenius. No one's getting in her way.
What do you do when you get to Eudenius?
She crosses her arms and says, Eudenius. I pretend I didn't just stutter there because I forgot his name.
Oh my god.
Excuse me,
It's been a
Mr.
long
Yarls. Yusuf.
Fucking. Go take a bath with a toaster. She's gonna like fold her arms and it's like, Eudenius, we need to talk now.
Delphina, when you go and when you talk to Eudenius, or when you like say that, Eudenius kind of turns around to you, and you can see like the very visible like tear stains kind of like running down his face, kind of where like his like eyeliner has kind of been running, and in his arms you see a very elderly gnome man, kind of like rolled up in like a blanket. You can kind of see like a very faint pink glowing light, kind of like illuminating like around his small, very broken body. His skin is very pale, and you can see visible blood splatter like along the bottom of his face. And he looks at you, Delphine, and he's like, I'm sorry, what did you say?
She'll like kind of lower her tone a little bit and just like, we need to talk now about. She'll just kind of like gesture vaguely all of this.
Yedenius kind of seems a bit distraught, and he kind of glances around the room, and then he kind of begins walking over to Wander, and he's like, I need you to if you could hold him for me, and kind of very slowly begins to try and kind of transfer Baxby into your arms, Wander.
They'll take him as gently as they can, and they just like, would healing help?
You can try. I've been trying. It's not good.
Okay.
I've seen a lot of people wrapped in sheets in my day.
I'll try anyway.
Alright.
And he kind of leaves Baxby with you. We are all in the same building. You're all in kind of the large communal throne room that Yedenius is usually in. But he kind of
think of it as like a gymnasium.
Yeah, the naked priest gymnasium.
Naked priest.
Unfortunately, everyone is closed during these dark times. Yedenius kind of turns back to you, Delphina, and he's kind of there's a very somber look on his face.
She kind of looks around, is like, here works too. Dawnfire did this. Even if you don't know, in your heart, this was them.
Oh, I'm well aware who it was. The boy showed me, and he kind of wipes a tear from his cheek, and he's like, I didn't think that it would be this bad.
She'll take a deep breath, and it's like, it's always this bad when a tyrant strikes.
It is, but they've never been so. It's never. They haven't been this violent. They haven't been this. And he kind of seems to be struggling with the words, and he pauses, and he's just, there's still, I think that there might still be survivors down in the village.
There might be.
We can save them, but you need to plan safety measures and muster your strength, because if they attacked one town, they'll attack another, and then the city.
There will be time for that, but as for now, I think focusing on survivors is probably the best course of action. Battle plans can wait for later, but as for right now, this isn't on you, but I do think perhaps they may have been incensed by that, Alexander's recent talk with you.
You can see, Yedenius, his face kind of falls at that. And his face kind of scrunches up a bit, and he's like, if I gave him what he wanted, I would just be throwing my people into his hands.
No.
No, you did the right thing.
You did the right thing. That's the last thing you should do. I'm just trying to find some sort of explanation, but
They made a
that'll-
statement to you
Yes.
that if you don't comply, this is what they'll do. You need to make a statement back.
With what?
We need to kill the paladin who did this.
With what people? I don't.
I'll do it.
But once I'm in agreement with Delphina, send us to wreck shit.
I
And
We're not associated with you, but we can make sure they know. This is what happens if they do this again to your people.
My city does not have the resources to support a war. We barely have enough people to defend ourselves.
We're not asking you to go to war. We're asking you to prepare. There are other cities who are not under them yet, correct?
I've asked for help elsewhere, and with the corruption happening and the cities falling, people aren't willing to offer more people like that.
Then you send a small strike team for an assassination mission.
Delphina's gonna reach out real quick and just kind of like, this time she's gonna shake him, and it's like, you need to think like someone leading a city. You're too emotional with this.
Micah's gonna slap Delphina's hands off you, Denius.
Delphina, there is a manlet staring at you from like across the room.
You shake the Dennis?
Emotion is not a weakness, Delphina.
He's gonna turn and shove Micah. And I'm not saying it is. I'm saying he needs to think like a leader. And leaders can be driven by emotion, but they need to think logically.
You're certainly not giving him time to grieve.
Leaders don't get time
They
like that.
do, Delphina. And if
What-
you act otherwise,
What do you have
certainly never
what
been-
knowledge do you have about leading cities?
Oh,
You up
I
and-
don't know.
you were gone.
Maybe the entire lifetime spent watching my best friend do it in the sidelines.
I'm sorry, I thought you were off playing around. I was a diplomat, a noble. I've seen firsthand in court how things need to be ran.
Really, Delphina, do you not think that I lived the exact same fucking life that you did?
No, I think you're a spoiled, prissy little rich boy that had his family killed and then ran off.
Micah's gonna punch her.
Ooh.
Roll me, fucking shit, what do I roll for get punched? I don't know, roll me, D10. D10.
Try to step in. I want to try to drop in a bit. Like,
Oh, that's a
guys.
No, Delphina's hitting back.
Guys. They're like holding this freaking gnome, trying to like,
Oh my god!
now's not the time.
What?
Guys.
Okay, I had to roll a d10 and Micah
No, you have to roll a D10.
Oh, sorry, I'm so sorry. I thought you rolled, I thought you rolled a d20.
I can roll a d20.
Oh my god, roll a D20? Okay, hold on, let's go!
Die.
Oh god.
You guys are having a full-on fucking fist fight out in the middle of this thing. Denius is like aghast, like Arl is like pulling him away. Caspian comes up to the two of you, like fucking.
Caspian's Jerry.
Caspian has been here. Caspian wandered with you guys out here. You
I
guys.
forgot, Caspian got dicked.
Oh no, if you hit Caspian, there's a problem. You would be in the ocean. Caspian, like, as you two are, like, wailing on each other, you're, like, fucking, you've got, like, marks on your faces from where you're, like, smacking, that didn't sound right, where you're, like, smashing each other in the face. Caspian, like, he, like, takes, like, his big fucking hand and he, like, scruffs one of you by, like, the back of your shirt, and then he scruffs the other of you by the back of your shirt. He's like, that is enough!
Micah's just heavy breathing, and he looks at Delphina and he says, "You have no idea what other people have gone through. You have
And neither
no
do you.
right to say anything like that." You don't get to make judgments on others. You never did, and you should fucking learn that.
How dare you? We watched your life. Don't you remember?
Hey, I really don't think now is the time for this, guys. Really now is not
Delphina-
the time.
Delphina's just gonna like throw her hands up and like look away, just exasperated.
Of course. Typical.
Just stop.
Where's the camp?
No. Both of you, stop. Now is not the time. We need to help these people, and you two arguing is getting us nowhere. So stop. Cut it out. You can save this for later.
Caspian, like, very gently, very cautiously, like, lets you two, like, down and, like, drops you kind of, like, with, like, a...
How far away is Udenius now? How far did Arl drag him?
He dragged you guys, he dragged him, like, not super far away, but he dragged you out of any, like, circle of, like, range of, like, flying limbs or whatever. He's standing firmly in front of Udenius now, though.
I think what happened in Rosefield was a response to our actions there, not anything Udenius has done. But I don't know. If Udenius is in no position to help, I don't know. Why don't we go to the people who can? There are other cities who have been actively fighting the Paladins for some time now. Maybe we'll have better luck there.
Wander, Udenius kind of, like, comes back over to kind of, take, Baxby, back from you to try and, kind of work on sustaining him as much as he can, and
I will have tried healing him in the time they did have him, though.
yeah. Udenius kind of like, he like gives like a very small like thank you to you, and he kind of takes you in his arms. He's like, I'll of course give you the resources that I do have. It's just Alatanos is so much larger than Alessa. They have more resources. They have more manpower, as it were. Their population in general is just much larger than ours, and a little bit less than half of our population they're very young. They're mostly children and teenagers. And he seems a little bit distressed at the concept. He's like, this is not a city of war, of violence.
And it doesn't have to be.
No, but you told us when we spoke last that I think it was Atabus has been fighting Altanos for hundreds of years by now. Maybe we will have better luck finding... I don't know. If you're looking for people, then, you know, maybe we can get you two working together or something. Share resources and people. If they're getting more aggressive, then at least maybe by working together you can help your cities more that way. Ayla, you said, was less aggressive, but just a safe haven or something for refugees?
It's a bit of a safe haven. I know that they have, in some of their own ways, been retaliating, but Etivus has, in fact, been at war with Altanos for hundreds of years, as you said. You could try. I know that they're a bit on edge these days, as it were. I'm not sure how receptive they would be to people coming to their doorstep, but and he kind of like gestures around. He's like, I'm not sure what other options we have.
What if we, the party, go to Atavus and, I don't know, do what we can to win them over and maybe propose some kind of... You don't have like a set alliance with the other cities, right?
He kind of shakes his head and he's like, we're not at war with each other or anything, but there's a bit of a you leave me alone, I leave you alone kind of deal that we have.
Right, so what if we go and we propose that everyone starts helping each other now that Altanos is striking out, becoming more violent? You may not have soldiers, but you have healers. I'm sure they could use that.
Denise kind of nods at that a little bit, kind of looks down at Baxby, kind of looks to Arl, and then to Caspian, and kind of nods, and he's like, like I said, I'd be willing to give anything that my healers, whatever resources I can provide, I'd be very willing to give it.
I think it's time to try and establish some kind of alliance with the cities here. If you bond together, you stand more of a chance.
And then he's kind of just very softly
Than
nods
alone.
at that. He kind of he nods and he's like, I think that you're right.
Sound good to everyone else?
Yeah.
Sounds perfect. Thank you, Wanda.
Very wise plan, Wander.
You both sound like scolded children.
No, believe me, Micah's gonna let loose later.
Oh boy. Caspian's just
We
like,
set up fighting hours, but everything, like, you have like an hour or two in the evening you can sort your shit out, but like after that it's in party mode. We focus. Everyone
it's like
understood.
6 a.m. Like the sun's like not even up, bro.
Caspian's like gawking at the two of you like, you've got to be fucking kidding me.
Micah's just gonna, I assume Delphina scratched him up real bad.
You know what? I'd say with a 14 roll your face, yeah, you're not looking that great.
Yeah, he's gonna, like, wipe himself off with his sleeve and, like, go off to, like, start helping any, like, any herbalists, help make, like, tinctures, potions, etc., since he has, you know, that knowledge.
Yeah. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. Oh, I was gonna say Delphina taking a nat 20 to the face.
Yeah.
Is gonna just kind of like, she's gonna like press her hair back, wipe probably her bloody nose and black eye, and she'll look to you, Diana, and says, I need all the information you have on the paladins. All of it. Where would you keep that?
Edenius looks straight at Arl.
Oh my god, no.
Arl kind of like, has my screen been on the ending the whole time?
Yeah.
That's embarrassing.
Yeah, I didn't know where to button.
Oh, Jake!
I don't know, just like, I was
Jake,
like, oh, I
Jake,
should let people know. And then people
We've
started
been
hitting
going
each
for
other.
an hour.
People started hitting each other. It was a lot. I was just like, oh boy, this would be an appropriate time to be like, hey, by the way.
Jake, put it in chat. God, I'm sorry.
You know, it's fine. One of my friends has been trying to start up Skyrim for the past fucking hour. Whatever, it's fine. Sorry, what were you doing? Oh yeah, you guys said that you wanted information on Alatanos. Yeah, Edenius looks straight at Arl. And he kind of looks at him expectantly, and Arl kind of like gives like a hearty sigh, and he like crooks his finger at all of you, and he's like, "Follow me."
Well, I guess we're following.
Yeah, Delphina's on her way. She's got a mission.
Yeah.
Can I ask how, like, Madeline's been doing?
Madeline is as stable as someone in her condition can be right now.
I think, because we're all in the same building, can Percy, like, see where the others are?
Arlo's, like, actively leading them through, like, a different part of the building. Like, through a different door.
I mean,
All
you
right.
can probably see Micah since he's with the other herbalist.
I'm just, like, seeing if Percy can see the others being led somewhere, basically.
Yes.
Wanda will make sure to like stop by Percy and say like, hey, we're moving. You know. We'll find
Alright.
a way to help her and everyone else. I think she's in the best hand she can be in right now.
Percy will kind of nod to Wander, and I'll catch up in a second. And at one point he will kind of, is Madeline still like conscious, or is she like?
She's conscious, but she's like muttering like absolute gibberish right now.
He's going to like make sure that like she can see him, and he's like, I will be back, I promise.
Percy,
And he's gonna like gently, oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, as Percy kind of like starts to like get ready to like kind of make it known he's leaving, she like grabs his arm or grabs his wrist really firmly, and she kind of like leans up towards you, and she's still got like gold running out of her mouth, and she goes, "May the dawn never fade, and may the sun never set."
Oh, that's not good.
He just kind of stares at her and just is watching her very, very carefully.
She kind of seems to like stare at you, Percy, and there's still gold running from her eyes, her mouth, probably coming up out of her nose a little bit at this point. She goes, "May the flame ever burn in his favor," and she kind of like starts to like lay back down on her cot.
Is she still alive?
She's still alive, but like she's like I said, as stable as she can be in this condition, which you're not exactly sure how stable that is.
Like the true concern in your voice.
Yeah, I'm so fucking stressed out.
Did she die?
So stressed out. Percy kind of like looks down at her, and he looks over to where like the others were led off, and then he looks at like DeVille, and there's kind of like he's thinking something over, and then he's very much like he's pissed. He's very pissed about what has happened, and he just moves towards where the DeVille is sitting, and he approaches, and he just grabs, not harshly, but he grabs DeVille's hand as he approaches, and he's like, show me what happened, show me who did this now.
Percy, you see everything that Delphina had seen. You see the paladins razing the town. You see him turn Morgan the blacksmith to dust in his hand. You see him grab Maddie. You see him corrupting her. You see him drop her to the floor, thrust his sword through her gut. You see him smash Baxby beneath his boot. You see them rounding up the people of Rosefield and throwing them in the back of that caged cart. You see him take Baxby's daughter and his granddaughter and load them into the cart. You see it all.
Do I see the man who did this?
Oh yeah, you see Alec. He doesn't remove his helmet at any point, but he has a very specific kind of armor on that seems to have its own like unique pattern from like the other paladins. He's very distinguishable.
Wait, I thought his name was Eldrick.
Aldrich, not.
Okay, sorry, I was like, wait.
No, I'm just.
Yeah, sorry.
I always.
down Aldrich.
I always fuck up my names whenever I say it because I say them too much. But yeah, however I said it the first time, this is his name.
You're good.
When the vision like ends, Percy is just like staring with like his eyes are like kind of like just wide with like, it's kind of like anger and like grief, as like it's just like wide eyes just with tears like spilling over, and he's just kind of just staring for a second, and he stands up and he's immediately searching the cathedral for Baxby.
Dennis has Baxby still. Baxby is still in Yedenius's arms, swaddled in that, like, towel blanket. Yedenius is still trying his best to keep Baxby kind of stable in his arms. His skin is very pale. He's kind of like, he's lost a lot of blood. His breathing is very shallow. He doesn't look good, Percy. And Dennis is just kind of like holding him in his arms, trying everything to do with his magic to kind of keep him at least stable.
He's alive.
Barely. And barely is a very generous word.
Percy is like just looking at Baxby, and he's like kind of like ghosting, like he's practically trembling at this point from what you don't it could be anger, it could be grief, but he's fucking trembling. And you be quiet, and you've done enough. Fucking, he's fucking lost my train of thought. He's ghosting a hand, and he's just trembling with rage.
I am not asking you to not have hope, Perseus, but I am asking you to brace yourself for the worst. I will do everything in my power to help your friend. But just be prepared to do what you have to do.
It's my fucking fault.
Don't. And he kind of...
No. We went after that damn patrol, and I was sloppy. We should have covered our tracks better. I should have known better. I know how these people work, and I got sloppy. I got confident, and now this all has happened.
Percy, Eudenius in one hand is kind of like cradling Baxby as though he's like a small child, in one hand, and he kind of like very, very gently but firmly takes your chin in his hand, and he kind of like
flinches out of it.
He's like, Percy, you need to listen to me. Madeline has been helping the vampires down there for years at this point. It would have been, if not now, it would have been later. This is not your fault.
It was now. It was because of...
It was not your fault. It was not your fault. It was not your friend's fault. The only people
would stop telling me that.
Because it's not, Percy. You blame yourself. You hate yourself for things that are not your fault. You blame yourself.
It has to be my fault. If it's not, then whose fault is it? We were the one who took down the patrol.
It's the people who did this in the first place's fault. There should be no one around that would be that should be willing to do such horrible things to people. It is not your fault. I need you to understand that. You blame yourself. You put so much on your shoulders, and it's everything is out of your control. I don't think you understand this.
This wasn't in my control. If I wasn't sloppy, that was in my control.
Edenius kind of just stands there and is kind of just holding Baxby very close to him. And he gives like a really like nothing matters, go see everything all at once. Fuck you, G. he sits there and he's like, you will break yourself under these burdens that you place on yourself needlessly. I am begging you to be kinder to yourself, Percy.
He just gives one last look down at Baxby, and he just turns away and heads towards wherever the fuck the others were led towards.
How many people went to go follow Arl?
I think Delphina and Pike and Wander did. Micah stayed behind, but seeing Percy go to follow them, I think he's also gonna tail Percy.
I mean, Wanda went to tell Percy that they're like leaving, but would have probably like held back everyone. Like they step into the next room, and then Wanda's like, "All right, let's just wait for Percy to catch up before we move on."
Aunt Pike's waiting around to Percy.
When Percy finally kind of catches up to you guys, Arl like leads you into like an adjacent office, kind of like through a door and like down a hall, and he closes it, closes it behind you guys, and he starts like pulling things off of shelves, like pulling maps and like notebooks, kind of like old records and things. And he kind of starts laying them off at a table in front of you all. And he gives kind of like a small sign. He's like, I hope you won't be too upset if I tell you that I had Edenius withhold information from you until I could properly present it to you, so to speak. Alatonos.
What?
Percy just takes a book and starts reading. He probably takes it a bit harshly. He takes the book.
Arl kind of lets you take that book, and he kind of like, Arl kind of like runs his hand over a map that looks like a fairly detailed like redrawing of Alatonos. And he kind of like pats his finger down on the map, and he's like, so essentially, could tell you anything you really wanted to know about the city.
How do we get in?
Well, there's your problem. And he kind of like runs his finger. He like runs his finger like along like the charcoal like outer wall of the city. And he's like, the thing about Alatonos is people don't come in, people don't come out. The only people that have access to leaving the city, as it were, are the paladins. The paladins let you in, the paladins take you out, dead or alive.
So you're saying there are what, walls, fortress? It's essentially a fortress, is what you're saying.
Arl kind of nods at you, Micah, and he's like, it's the way that the city works essentially is it's almost tiered upwards into a bit of a spiral, as it were. Outside walls are for the impoverished, poorly kept, and it seems to kind of go upwards. Cruel metaphor, if you will. And he kind of like taps like an illustration of like the spire that kind of like protrudes upwards from the city, and he's like, the high priestess lives in the top district, as it were, her and her family, and it goes down to paladins, justiciars, priests, typical clergies, guards, and then the average civilians and citizens. And he kind of like, just kind of like, gives like a very brief rundown of like the tier systems, but essentially rich at the top, poor people at the bottom, paladins used to oppress all beneath, etc.
Micah thinks for a second, and kind of like looks at the maps of the cities, and says, "Is there anything about the geography? I can see there's a fair number of mountains, but are we talking cliff faces, any tunnels underneath that may be known of?"
Arl kind of like pauses for a second. Is like the mountains that kind of border our side of the continent, at least, difficult to navigate, though not impossible, I suppose. I would not recommend it. And he kind of like points, kind of like to this, like a little like drawn spot underneath the city. He's like, there's a large series of crypts that go underneath. I haven't been able to manage a lot of spies to go under there yet. They seem to be fairly heavily guarded. People are either turned away or I haven't heard back from them yet, which is not the best sign, to be rather honest.
How many people do you have inside?
4 at least. Now, there's, and he kind of like pauses and he's like, sometimes people go missing a little bit faster than, is preferred, I suppose.
Then it's not within the realm of impossibility that that the paladins conduct raids, to be entirely honest, and if anything, I would guess that they have some way of ferreting out spies.
Oh, absolutely. The thing is that I've heard inklings, rumors of a brewing revolution inside of, and he kind of like gestures to like the larger part of the city, like the outskirts that kind of are housing like the poorer districts. It seems that it's as oppressive of a state inside as it is outside. The people are beginning to revolt, it seems. Don't know how successful that is, but people are sick of it nonetheless.
If there is no way in, but if somehow we just need an in and then we can stoke the fires.
Getting in is going to be harder, though. What about the other cities? I'm sure you have people out and about in the other major cities.
Oh, of course.
And we already have one way in, at the very least.
I mean, I have connections in Itavis and I have connections in Ayala. Those connections aren't going to get you audience with the leaders, most likely, though. Those you're going to have to talk to yourself.
How are the cities?
How are the cities?
Yes, the state, the people. How ingrained are the paladins in the other cities?
Oh, not at all. And Arl kind of like points over to Itavis and he's like, well, to start off, the Were people over in Itavis have been at war with Elatanos for forever. Like I said, getting an audience with their leaders will probably be a bit difficult. They're very untrustworthy of outsiders right now. They get the brunt of Elatanos' tyranny, as it were. Ayala may be a bit of an easier bet to get to, though you'll have to take a boat there, obviously, because there's water. And he's like sitting there singing.
Is there anything that could give us an advantage in Itavis and Ayala? What's the general atmosphere scholarly like? Are there any what's the wider group of people? Is there any diadic that's followed?
Bards, minstrels, show types, feeder kids.
In Ayala or Itavis?
He points at Ayala.
Okay, what about Itavis?
Bring a stew bone. He shrugs at you with that one. He's like, I don't have many connections to them. They're, like I said, they're Were people. They're very reserved, kind of keep to the forests. The forests are shrouded in a very thick mist, kind of difficult for Palans to navigate, of course, but also difficult for people who aren't from there to navigate. And he kind of gestures to all of you.
Well, I'm good in forest, so I could probably have at least a little bit more expertise, but that wouldn't provide us much if it's shrouded, especially magically. Yeah, that sounds like our better bet, honestly. Because if we
I
have
think-
more political sway over there, then we'll have more political sway in Atavas.
Ideally, we'll go to both because with three cities standing together,
You're turning
then,
into a robot.
you'd-
Wanda became a robot and disappeared.
fixed or
Traffic stop.
Can you repeat that?
it has it been fixed yet, or am I still?
Oh,
yeah,
there you
you're
go,
good.
there you
You're
go.
good now. You're good
Okay.
now.
Well, ideally, we'd like to go to both cities because with all three of them standing together, you know, things like what happened this morning hopefully won't happen again if everyone's supporting each other.
Oh, of course, but it would be easier to go to Ayla first and then Atavas.
Oh, of course. Of course. I'm just saying we should probably end up going to both places anyway.
Both would be best.
We can get some stew bones in Ayala.
That's true.
We
Like-
could. Arl, do you have people who could safely keep us hidden in both cities, at the very least?
Why would we need to be hidden in the cities?
It's not like we're, well, actively being hunted there.
Well, you do travel with a monster.
But they're
so-
not affiliated with Alatanos, so we should be fine. Ayla has been a safe haven for refugees, and Atavas has actively been fighting them and is home to were people, so I think you should be alright in both, Delphina.
I don't think they would actively really give a shit, especially.
I mean, I've been
Given-
able
It's
to...
Alatanos we'll have to worry about.
I've been able to go to ALO just fine. And he gestures at his manlet vampire self.
Good to know then. Alright.
I also should mention, in case anything is to... In case you do end up finding yourself near or inside of Altanos, there are beacons within the city that disable the ability to use any kind of magic.
Any.
Any.
So even intrinsic magic.
I believe so.
Wonderful. Will that
Something that would finally kill me.
would that hinder Delphina's ability to regenerate, feed?
Arl kind of like clicks his tongue and he's like, I'm not exactly sure about that, but I have a feeling it might. For people that loathe vampires and similar races to our kind, I'm sure they've done whatever they can to keep us as weak as they possibly can in their grasp, as it were.
How do we recognize these things?
He kind of like pulls out a file and kind of presents it to you, and they look like large, kind of like golden stones, probably about the size of like a person. And he's like, they're kept guarded in several of the cathedrals. I believe there's only 4 or 5, perhaps.
How big are they?
He kind of gestures to Wander, and he's like, I'd say about as large as they are from what I've been able to tell.
Alright, so we'd be able to spot them from a distance at least.
Am I that big?
Me big?
Me?
Me?
Me tall? I mean, yeah, but like from a distance. Huh.
And one more thing about these. Would, do they have any effect against, saints?
He kind of pauses, and he kind of, like, seems to think about it, and he's like, that's actually a good question. Alatanos doesn't have any saints.
That we know of.
That we know of. Could possibly be more, but from my research, as it were, nobody's been able to tell me that kind of effect.
Alright, well, Constantius is going to have to be careful then. About the... for lack of a better word, molten light. Is that something intrinsic to just Paladins of Alatanos? Is there anything similar to that? Is that something granted by their god, or...
That seems exclusive to them. We're not exactly sure what it is, what it does, what its purpose is. To be honest, it seems like somewhat of a new ability, unless they just haven't felt it necessary to use it before.
Wouldn't be surprised if it has, the... What are we calling them? The people we're after as a...
Paladins?
No, like Sophia and those lot.
Just kind of Sophia.
Cult? I don't know.
Cult will work. Cult. Arl shrugs at you, Wander.
Whatever, those... I wouldn't be surprised if this has their name written all over it. Their influence or whatever.
Sophia will be having a wonderful time having someone that finally... God, okay. My only consolation here is that if those stones have any effect on saints, then Sophia will be greatly weakened within the city.
Arlo just kind of seems to, like, nod at that and kind of, like, jots it down in something.
It's a good point, actually. We should... Do any of us carry around anything like that? Do we have one?
No, we don't.
Maybe we should start.
We have a saint traveling with us.
Oh, I know. I don't mean anything big enough to, affect Asta. Just small enough that if like one of us can get her with it, it will make any encounter with her easier, I suppose, now that she's more powerful.
Maybe about the size of an arrowhead.
It wouldn't do much, but that's a slight advantage at least.
Yes, but if we could attach it to an arrow and embed it in her skin, then it would probably have a greater effect.
We can workshop it. Yeah. Right, is that everything?
Arl seems to kind of be leaning back, back against a bookcase. Is kind of just, like, reviewing over, like, papers and notes. He's like, I believe it's all that I have that'll be useful to you right now. Like I said, we have a bit of limited information on them, but...
Okay.
I actually have a few more questions, but they're more semantic things and more military based than anything. I doubt it'll be very useful to you lot. It's more of just...
I mean, while we're here, might as well, right?
Arl raises his eyebrows at you, Micah.
Right. First of all, what weaponry do they have? Any type of preferred rank and file? I.e., shield bearers in the front, archers at the back, pole arms, yada yada. Anything that could be formed around or against? Do they travel in essentially in a specific rank and file? Are they guarded around all four sides, or is it more of those gaps in the sides? If there are a good number of paladins, will they have underlings that are less guarded, and do they have different weapons?
Arl kind of taps his quill against his bottom lip for a second, and he's like, To be rather honest, we haven't really engaged them in that kind of combat before. The only the only city that has really engaged Alatanos in full-on war would be Etabas. From my understanding, paladins and the knights, particularly, are the ones that go out and execute things like raids, or, execute particular demands on behalf of the priestess.
All right. Do you have any information about their weaponry?
From most what we can see from medical documentaries, survivors that we've had sent to the cities, the paladins tend to stick to swords and spears for the most part. Shields on occasion.
So they're essentially high and dry when it comes to long range?
At least when they're, again, executing raids, most likely. We've never attacked the city itself before, so I'm not sure what kind of inside defenses they have yet, at least.
Well, if they're built like a fortress, then they've probably got a fair amount of, siege weapons. Right. Fair amount of questions for Etabas, then. Do you know anything about make of these weapons?
The make of them, like materials?
Materials, shape, any exploitable weaknesses?
Not from what I've observed, at least. Perhaps if you go back to Rosefield, I'm not sure if any of the paladins have been felled. I had heard that you all had taken care of one of the paladins before you had come to the city, from my understanding. I'm not sure if any of their weaponry is still lying about. Could perhaps take a look at that.
Alright. When we have time, we can do that. That's all I can think of, but we'll probably have more at some point.
Always happy to help.
I have a couple questions.
Arl cocks his brow at you, Delphina.
Does Alexander remain in the area very often, or does he make the trek back to Alatanos every time he comes out?
Alexander seems to, for the most part, unless it's particularly important, seems to stay in Alatanos. I really only ever see him when he came by to make his proposals to Edenius.
You can say demands, it's okay.
Demands, proposals, either way. Very lucky that I haven't put a blade in his neck yet.
Perhaps next time you should. Now, what about his men? How often, where do they keep patrols? Do they all come from Alatanos? Surely they must have some sort of stronghold or base of operations. It's just not logical to continuously be sending people from Alatanos.
I'm sure there's strongholds, likely more near their city. I'm sure positioned in or near towns that they have underneath their jurisdiction. There might be some near Rosefield, but I'm not exactly sure. Whatever is far enough away from the were people to keep them from destroying it over and over again, I'd assume.
We should see if we can find one then. See if they have any sort of list of names of their commanding officers.
Are there any other questions?
No, that's it. I was,
okay.
yeah. Sorry.
No, you're good. I was waiting, but yeah.
Okay.
Arl nods and he's like, I'll keep you updated if I find anything else.
First, he's the book he kind of grabbed from Arl that he's been kind of just skimming through this entire time. He's just gonna like put it in his bag.
Percy,
He's
for the
keeping
most
it.
part, that book that you took, it seems to be more of like an outside understanding of the way that Alatanos' religion works. Kind of the way that the city is tiered, as I'd mentioned before, it goes like High Priestess, Paladins, Knights, Guards, Nobles, etc., etc., etc. What an outsider's understanding of Idris, which is the city's god, folklore, things like that.
Would it
Alright,
say
is that,
like who the high priestess is? Like, this is the person who founded our cult. Like, worship them.
Yeah.
The folklore seems to go back. Currently, from like the papers that Arl has handed you, the high priestess that is currently operating is called Seraphina Winterwater. That's
Any physical information about her?
very old. She's about 60 to 70 years old. A half-elven woman. That's not. That's 60 to 70 for half-elves.
Half elves can live up to 180, I think.
Yeah. So about. Maybe it's probably fair to say that she's like close to like 150, maybe.
Okay. Is there anything in there about what she wears, how often she's seen in public?
She seems to only come down through like for like important gatherings, briefly addressing the public from her like place in the spire. She's not really let out of people's like sight very often. She never leaves the city.
Micah kind of looks at that and kind of like sucks in his cheek and he says, "Now, I have a bit of an idea."
Arl
About-
kind of cocks an eyebrow at you.
Yeah, well, probably, and keep in mind, this is just a wild, haphazard idea that popped into my head. But given that the city has a fair amount of reverence for her, and she presumably has no combat capability whatsoever,
Has no what?
I'm thinking about it, and it's even less feasible as I'm sparing more than just a half-formed thought towards it. But it would be very easy to exploit her position, especially if she's kept in a building basically all the time. We wouldn't even need to go in there. Just if we could set some charges around the base or something.
Don't bother. She is a very smart woman.
How smart are we talking?
Arl looks at you very curiously, Delphina.
Smart enough to build a cult that does her bidding for her.
Do you know
Definitely if you
her?
that information, then it would be well received.
Delphina kind of like grits her jaw. She's my grandmother.
Percy is staring wide-eyed at you.
Micah has got the biggest shit-eating grin on his face.
Did you not think this was like important information to tell us?
Well,
Oh,
I
hey,
didn't
by
know.
the way, the fucking high priestess of Altanos is my grandmother. When were you gonna drop that?
Oh boy,
Does
Delphina,
she-
I hope you don't mind exploiting your family connection.
Does she give you candy? I think grandmas are supposed to give you candy.
This type of grandma wouldn't, I assume.
I don't really have connections to her, as my mother rightfully left when I was rather young to get
Oh,
me
but your
away
name's
from
not
a
very
cult.
But your blood connection would still probably carry weight, would it not?
I doubt it.
That Delphina has been turned. Probably not. I wouldn't rely on that.
No, but they don't know. They don't have to know that.
It's pretty.
You just
I think it's pretty. I think here's the thing. I think a city hell bent on hunting monsters would know how to tell who's a vampire and who isn't.
That's
And
true.
who's come back from the dead.
That's true, they
I
do.
forgot about that bit. They do think you're probably dead. Okay, never mind.
Yes. Yes, there was a pretty public execution of me. So
maybe we leave the plans regarding Alatano specifically to after we've visited all the cities and have a bit more information.
Yeah, fair enough. So, Ayala. First, I'm assuming. Travel by boat, how long does it take to get down there?
I'd say half a day's journey.
Alright, not bad. In terms of, well, to put it lightly, and I am not expecting a good answer here, how closed off are they to outsiders' opinions?
They're fairly friendly people. If that's what you mean.
Yes, but I mean more of, trying to convince them to, take to a military power.
He sucks in his
Well,
teeth. That one might be a little bit more difficult.
I think if we get a letter from Eudenius and just do our best, maybe offer to help while we're there, some kind of favor, I don't know. We'll talk them around one way or another.
Well, from our past experiences, we have proven to be somewhat persuasive at the very least.
we'll figure a way out to have them work with Eugenius in the city.
Actually, Eugenius's, connection could provide a fair amount, but could Caspian's word carry any weight as well?
Arl kind of gives a bit of a shrug and is like, I mean, Caspian's word carries a decent amount of weight anyway you go. Was there something in mind that you, an idea you had in mind?
More of thinking if we spoke to whoever was in charge at Ayala and had two saints sort of asking for them to hear us out, then it would be, pretty easy to gain an audience with whomever we chose.
We could probably throw in Ethan's name in there as well.
I'm sure it couldn't hurt.
That makes me think. How far is Isidon
Isidon is
in terms of travel?
it's about, I'd say maybe two days travel.
Maybe we should reach out to the other cities as well to see, they were unwilling to provide aid before, but with everything going on, yeah, it's rough, but this is important, so.
That one might serve to be a bit more difficult.
I'm sure it will be, but
Just try it anyway. What's the worst? They say no, fuck off then. Or they can fuck off.
I feel like I can. Sorry, go on.
Oh no, go ahead. You just said by all means. Go ahead.
Micah kind of inhales a little bit and he says, "Well, I think we can. I think it's pretty obvious that we can can take Alave out of the running.
Well, of course.
Obviously, and Eastwith, well, they didn't exactly seem, well, like they were going to consider opening their doors anytime soon.
I'm sure we can manage something with Isidon at least.
Most likely, yeah. But those two, no, I wouldn't put money on it.
Anyway, I was talking a lot, which isn't bad, but should we
No,
start
so-
preparing to head out, unless anyone has other questions?
Best to get a move on as soon as we can.
Sorry, did you say something, Delphina?
Oh no, Delphine was gonna say we should move too. So
Arl kind of gives a nod, and he's like, well, perhaps if you want, you can check in with Eudenius. Ask of ask of anything that you need before you go.
I think, in all honesty, we're probably set.
Oh, we should definitely get letters from Eudenius before we go.
Oh, well, that,
Just
yes. but in
proposing
terms
an
of
alliance,
anything else, yeah.
Arl staring off into the distance.
But in terms of anything else, I think letters are the only thing we'd need.
Yep.
I should probably go let Asta know what's going on.
Arl kind of nods and kind of like clears off his table, kind of puts everything away and nods, and he's like, well, you know to find us if you need us.
Of course.
right.
Right.
Thank you for all the help. And hopefully we can manage something.
Arl kind of nods and he's like, Godspeed.
Percy's gonna leave and then go check on Baxby and Madeline.
Percy, when you walk out into that main hall, Caspian is kind of comes to like stand in front of you, and there's a very solemn look on his face.
Oh, no.
No.
What?
Don't do this.
Percy, I need you to.
He like pushes past him.
Caspian tries to grab you.
Let me who
He's like, listen, Percy,
let go of me right now.
Percy, listen to me, Percy. And Caspian kind of gets on his knees and he kind of like holds you firmly, and he's like, I need you to listen to me, all right? Just. They tried everything they could, Percy. And there was too much. It was too old. There was little that they could do.
He is just staring. The like tears are like pulling back in his eyes as he's like processing, and he like again just rips his arm away from Caspian, and he's heading to Baxby, where he's looking for Baxby.
You see, kind of back at the far end of the room, you can see a few priests, and you see Eudenius, and Eudenius, notices you walking over Percy, and he hugs this little bundle to his chest, and he holds it, very close, and he's like, you shouldn't, and he looks very at loss for words and is just holding this tiny bundle to his chest, kind of holding it away from you.
He's like, he's just staring, and he's trying to like look for any like sign of breathing, anything, any movement, any signs.
Roll me medicine. I mean, Percy, you know a dead body when you see one. Baxby is cold. Or not cold, but cooling. His tiny body is pale. His eyes are closed, and Eudenius is holding him as though he's just an infant, almost. He's being so gentle with what's left of him. And he looks at you with so much sorrow, Percy, and he's like, I'm so sorry. You tried everything. I've tried everything. I'm sorry, Percy.
Percy is just, it's just this like wide-eyed like look as he just starts just trembling again, and tears are streaming down his face, and he's silent. He's silent for a bit before he fucking screams and like curls in to himself.
Caspian's like, he's like standing at the far end, kind of like away from you, and he has nothing. He's just like looking away. All of the priests are just kind of averting their gaze from you, Percy, out of some semblance of trying to give you some semblance of privacy. Also, sorry, what were you saying, Jay? I accidentally cut you off.
Micah speeds towards Percy as fast as he can, and just tries to offer some sort of comfort, like gathering Percy into his arms and just holding him.
Delphina's right behind him to do the same.
Pike is just also coming.
Group hug,
Group hug time.
Pike will stroke Percy's hair and make soothing noises like Caspian would do to them.
Oh.
Micah's just rocking Percy back and forth a little bit.
He's just like still like he's not let up like curling into him. He's just completely just curled into himself. He's just like wailing, and his like hands are in his hair, and he's just so overwhelmed.
It's probably fruitless at this point, but can wonder, like, just for the sake of it, like, check over Baxby, just if there's any sliver of hope, or they're just trying to find if there's a way.
Wander, you...
Which there probably isn't, but, you know, just character things.
Wander, Eudenius kind of... he doesn't, like, hand over Baxby to you, but, like, kind of, like, offers, like, his arms with Baxby in them. And you can hear him go, "You're very kind to want to try, but he's gone." And Wander, though you make the attempt, Baxby, he has no pulse. His skin is rather cooled. It's pale. He's not breathing. He's just an old little man taken a little bit too soon.
And they're just... I don't know if praying is the right word, but, like, trying to think at Yuli somehow, just like, is there no way? Is there nothing?
Wander, there is a very familiar call in the back of your mind that is very soothing and very empathetic, but also gives you that same gentle, there is nothing that can be done here.
They kind of look like they almost don't want to believe it, and they're still trying to think of ways. But, you know.
Wander.
What can you do?
Don't want to say that out loud in that
No,
voice.
of course not. It's just me.
I just want to kind of just like do some shit with him. I don't know. Wander like kind of slaps his cheeks a little bit. Hey,
Wander's
Keep
like,
up.
oh, that sucks.
We're all
something.
quietly hugging and just like, well, you know.
You just hear like the really soft sound of like slapping. Like, come on, buddy, get up. Like they're like poking
Yeah,
at
I
him with a
like
stick.
this.
Literally, Percy's screaming, and Wander's like, come
Oh
on.
my god.
They just want to help.
They like
Do
find,
this to
they
them.
like find like a stick from outside.
Guys,
They're like
no.
they're like jabbing him a little bit. Come on, do something. Come on, get up.
Oh my god. Fuck you so much, Pumpkin. I hope you die.
I think he's just sleeping, guys. Come on, let's wake him up.
No.
Little Pike wandering over like, come on, get up, buddy. Rise and shine. Caspian's like, Pike, no. Caspian's like, Pike, hands to ourselves.
Good god.
Eudenius is just Percy. He watches you just have a meltdown, and kind of wraps what's left of Baxby kind of in a towel, or in the like little like blanket towel that he'd kind of had him swaddled in, and he kind of like kneels down and he's like, his last thoughts were of you and Mandolin. All that he wanted was for the two of you to be safe. He had but one,
Go ahead.
he had but one desire, and that was that his family was taken care of.
Percy just like I think stops harder at that, and his like forehead is like on his knees, and he's just like holding himself together.
No, he loved you, Perseus. No, he loved you so much. And I could feel all of that love radiating from within him.
He just shakes.
You were his son, and and he kind of like pauses, and he's like full on, he's like silently weeping. He's like, you were his son, and he was very thankful to have you in his life.
Please stop.
Eudenius does, and when you ask him to stop, he kind of just pulls away, and kind of stands and kind of wanders over to Caspian and just kind of like puts his face in his chest.
So we should. Do you want? We can bury him if you need.
he doesn't really like say anything at first. He's just quiet. He's like, "Is that something you're supposed to do, right?" He,
It is. But there are other ways to go about it. And we don't even have to do it now.
Fuck.
No, I know. I'm sorry. We should get you outside, at least.
Percy, you can hear Foxglove kind of in your bag, kind of in the back of your head, really, is like, I think you need to get out of here, kid.
He'll slowly nod and he'll kind of uncurl from himself. Kind of like uncurling into the group hug, practically.
Micah will offer him a hand if he needs it.
He'll take that hand.
Do you want to get moving now?
Whatever everyone else wants to do.
Percy.
Let's just go. He goes to stand up.
Micah helps pull him to his feet and just supports him as they make their way out.
Percy just follows, still visibly trembling.
Are the rest of you following?
Pike's following, keeping your hand on Percy's back.
Delphine and Wander, are you guys following as well?
I just realized my mic's been muted. I'm gonna kill myself. I've been like, oh, okay, like, that's okay, like, nothing, it's fine. It's a really serious moment, I don't want to, like, interrupt.
I was
Delphine.
like, oh, where's Delphina?
Yeah, Delphina's got, like, an arm around Percy's shoulder, and she's, like, going with.
I see, that's really funny. How tall is Delphina? She's like 5'4". Percy's fucking 6 foot tall.
Yeah.
Well, like,
Delphina's
so...
having to, like, stretch up.
Not, like, around his shoulder,
She's
but
like
it's, like,
clinging
kind of,
to
like...
him.
Yeah, it's kind of, like...
Hanging off him like a monkey.
She's got, like, an arm, like, under his armpit, like, kind of, like, holding him. Okay, is that better?
Yeah.
Hang on, my monkey.
She's got, like, an arm underneath Percy's armpit. Micah's got an arm around Percy's shoulder. Pike's got a hand on the arm. Like, we've almost got the full bases covered.
I don't know why, but I keep picturing Percy as a manlet, so I'm like,
He's-
they're
no,
the
he's-
same height.
You take that back.
In my
Percy's, like,
mind,
6 foot tall.
I know, but like in my mind, I'm like, no, they're the same height.
He's taller
No,
than
Percy's
Micah.
way taller. Yeah.
Well, Delphina's like a fucking midget, so like, She's so small in comparison to everyone.
Do you think everyone in the party is just like Delphina size most of the time?
No, that's the thing. It's only Percy.
Why does he give us like short energy?
I mean,
A little bit.
I mean,
Okay, sure, why not? Whatever. He's tall.
Not to like kick you while you're down.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, my fucking like father figure died, but whatever. It's fine. I'm short.
Wander, are you following them?
Yeah, they still look like they're struggling with the concept that there is nothing they can do to help. But
Wander, Caspian kind of like catches your arm as you kind of like go to leave, and he kind of like watches your friends kind of like comforting Percy. But he takes note of like your expression, and he's like, Are you all right?
I don't know. If I had tried more earlier, would that have changed things?
I don't think so, Lamb. When they had brought him in, it was bad. If all that Yadenius does is heal, if there was nothing he could have done, there's nothing you could have done, and I know that you tried your best. Sometimes some people just can't be helped.
They kind of frown at that, but well, we'll just have to make sure it doesn't happen to anyone else. We have to stop these people.
Caspian kind of, he makes like a very like sympathetic face, and he's like, just be realistic for what's on the horizon. You may lose some people, Wander. It's not your fault, but it's bound to happen with evils like these.
Well, we'll try everything we can to make sure that we don't. We were talking about it earlier, but before we go, is there any way Isidon could help? I mean, we're trying to get these cities together, but even if it's just, I don't know, providing some ships to help ferry people or, you know, any sort of aid, is there anything we can do?
I could lend a few ships. I could perhaps maybe spare 100 men or so, but we're a bit tight on our resources as it is.
I understand. Anything helps, because what's happening here, it affects everyone at the end of the day. It's all tied up. We need to stop these people.
He nods Wander, and he's like, whatever I can give, it will be yours.
Thank you.
He gives like a very soft kiss on your forehead, Wander.
And they kind of lean into him for a bit.
He just kind of holds them briefly, and he's like, I know that you'll do your best, and I'm proud of you. And he gives you kind of like one final little like head kiss, and then he kind of like lets you go and nods at you, and he's like, I'm going to see if I can comfort you, Denius, at all.
Will you be staying for a while here then, or?
I think for a bit. He's struggling with maintaining his composure right now. I think it's all just a lot, and I think maybe it would be best if I stuck around for a day or two just to make sure that he's all right.
I'm glad. Things are rough here. It's good to know that you'll be here.
Caspian gives a very soft smile at that Wander, and he's like, always.
Stay safe.
You first.
No, you hang up.
Oh my god.
No, you hang up. No, you hang up. Meanwhile, Percy's
I
back
can't.
like, ah! Yeah!
We love a mental breakdown.
1 second, I want to go grab a water real fast.
Yeah.
If I didn't love them, why would I have them so often?
Oh my god.
Oh my god. How's everyone feeling? I'm feeling great.
Really good. I wrote something earlier in the session, and now it's probably gonna wait till next session because Mike is not gonna rock the boat while Percy's while he's making sure tending to Percy. But I think
If anyone starts trying to fight right now, Wonder is gonna pull both of you by the fucking collars and like dump you in different rooms and keep you there
I think
until you sort
everyone
your shit
knows.
out.
I think everyone knows not to fight right now. With
At the start-
Micah's entirely like focused in on Percy.
At the
Yeah.
start,
I just mean even if the stuff with Percy like hadn't happened, like Wonder's like, we need to get our shit into gear. You guys stop being stupid. Fucking cut it.
He probably would have fought Delphina if the thing was Percy.
Yeah, no. Wonder would have been hauling all of you like by the scruff. Like,
I mean,
cut it out.
Voice text. I literally wrote like a whole thing, and I'm not gonna spoil it, but
It's like, as soon as we get to a more stable place, you have an hour to sort your shit out every day in the evening, but I don't want to hear anything outside of the hour. Am I understood?
okay, but like I love that.
Mom,
because I have
Wander
this-
mom moments.
I have this image of fucking like Micah and Delphina being like perfectly amicable like throughout the entire day. They just need like an hour to duke it out with each other and like literally just fight each other for a good hour, and then the rest of the day they're like the best of friends.
Just get it out of their system.
Yeah.
But it's like that whole like fake smiles overly sweet.
I don't know. I feel like if
Somehow,
Micah
like-
had an hour to duke it out with Delphina, he actually like does like respect her like a good amount. But if he had like an hour to duke it out with her, he would actually be like way more amicable towards her.
If Micah just had an hour to beat a woman, he'd be fine.
You were so rude, twisting my words.
It's I don't know why the concept feels so funny that it's like somehow their friendship like repairs itself and gets better only because they get like an hour to duke it out with each other because
I think that's
They
an-
dead ass had a fucking Sims moment of just like walking up to each other and like instantly fighting.
People
Like,
fucking
I don't-
dying around them, passing away, like right there, and they're like, yeah, whatever. Fuck you. Got it.
I do think it would be fucking hilarious. I do think they're I don't know. I think Micah would have a better relationship if they just were able to fight each other. Like
just get it all out of their system and they're like,
Yeah.
all right, good duking out.
if literally they walk into like they shake hands before they enter a room and you just hear explosions from there for like a good hour, and then
God.
they walk out like burned and like with black eyes, and they just shake hands and are like good time.
Alright, so
My God.
were you guys heading to Rosefield?
Yes.
I can't remember.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, let's head to Rosefield.
I can't fucking
Absolutely.
I can't fucking
Absolutely.
remember what the plan is. I have my water.
I think we were gonna head
to
to.
Rosefield and then Ayala.
I mean,
Yeah.
Rosefield is kind of like close to a port, right? So it's like
Yeah.
on the way to a ship.
Yeah,
so we
let's
can...
pass through, guys. Let's go.
Let's yay, more
go.
Percy trauma.
More
Yeah.
Jake sounds so excited. We can't not.
Yeah.
Jake sounds too excited, actually. Maybe we should go now.
No. I mean, oh no, Rosefield.
No.
Oh, let's not go. No,
No,
I don't. I'd rather.
Oh wait, you don't want to go, Jake? Alright,
No,
okay, we can go.
The way Jake was so excited, and then Fancy were like, Jake like wants to go, and you sounded just so disappointed. You're like, I don't know, man.
I know what Jake's like. I know what Jake is like.
We know what.
What do you mean? What do you mean?
You're-
I'm not like
Oh, you're playing the field. I see.
I'm not like anything.
Micah's also going after those weapons. You know a bitch is using his fun little noble military training knowledge.
You guys make the journey over to Rosefield yet again, and what you come upon is no short of devastating. There are still bodies kind of laying out in the grass, splattered in blood. You can see where they had been impaled with swords. Some of them have had like the back of like their knees sliced to keep them from running. Some of them seem to have been corrupted by that strange golden aura before they had been put down. There's bodies in the field. There's some like in doorways where they had tried to run and hide. It's devastating, like I said, is a bit of a generous word to use.
Micah kind of like squeezes Percy's hand and like pulls him a bit closer and says, "Do you need me to stay with you?"
He's just staring at the village, and he just, surprisingly enough, he stares at the village and he like chokes out like a laugh of sorts, and it's almost like kind of like I don't know, like a desperate sort of like just laugh as he takes in the scene. He's like, I mean, you do what you want.
Percy, the feeling that kind of overwhelms you is very euphoric, strangely, it definitely takes your mind off the grief, the things you're feeling right now, as Foxglove seems to go very silent in your pocket. What do you want to do?
I think he just laughs again. That's just a bizarre feeling. It's a little concerning, I think.
Is there anything, does he want to look at any buildings? Does he want to look around the field?
Yeah, he'll take a look around.
Where are you looking around?
Let's go towards the inn. Let's go in there, actually.
Roll me an investigation check. Oh god. Percy,
Bro.
in the sheer overwhelmingness of this new feeling that you're currently embracing, you cannot see anything out of the ordinary. You're blinded by the overwhelming presence of Foxglove.
Oh, fuck. Can Delphina go with him and roll for investigation too?
Yes.
Can I get to that?
Yeah.
Probably.
You guys can all roll. Percy, as you kind of fail the shit out of that investigation check,
Pumpkin.
as your fucking useless eyes glance uselessly around the fucking tavern, you can.
God.
You see Aurora kind of sitting on the stairs, just like staring
God.
at you.
Oh no!
Fuck this bitch.
You see her. You say fuck
You
this
beat me.
bitch.
Yeah.
Aurora, what the fuck did she do?
Wait.
She
Who's Aurora
keeps
again?
traumatizing Percy.
Aurora's the dead child that got murdered.
Oh, okay.
She also keeps popping up in Percy's dreams as a malevolent spirit.
Oh, okay. It's fine.
I know it's not a malevolent spirit. It's just Percy's guilt manifesting.
It's still.
He's hallucinating. Is what's happening. It's not a spirit. He's hallucinating.
Percy, she's watching you from the stairs of which she's sitting on. Just looking at you with that one bleeding eye. Delphina, you're the only one to... Oh, go ahead.
He's just staring back at her. Is it like any like feeling when like looking, like is that euphoric, like weird like feeling still there when he's staring at her, or is that like
It's still
usual
there.
like and grief also overlapping?
I'd say it's both. There's that euphoria is there, but it's very empty when you look at her and you see her face.
He's laughs again. He's like, "Oh, fucking course."
Percy? What's going on?
Fucking course she'd be there.
Percy, no one's there.
No, I know. Of course, no one's there. No one's ever there.
Delphina, you search the inn, and you kind of wander about. You kind of look. There's some like chairs and tables have been turned over. Glasses have been smashed across the floor. But you kind of go up to like the rooms that you guys have rented before. Like kind of like the series of like inn rooms like on the top floor. There's two floors to the tavern, the bar, eating room, and then like the inn rooms. And you kind of search around, and the rooms don't look like they've been disturbed too much. The paladins didn't seem to have much interest in like raiding them, more so than they did sending the message. And you can hear what sounds like thudding coming around from a locked door to the right.
Ooh. Can she lockpick it?
Yeah, give me those thieves' tools.
Oh, fuck, where are they?
Should be in tool proficiencies and common skills.
Right below,
I don't-
like,
I-
skills. Like
I
where
don't-
your skills are,
I
right
think-
below.
You might
I
not...
don't think we set my shit up right.
I think it's a D10 for lockpicking.
It's it's a dexterity.
Oh,
Yeah, it's
okay.
dex.
Yeah.
Do you want me to just roll dexterity?
Yeah, just roll
Yeah, it's
dexterity.
dexterity plus your proficiency modifier. So what's
Okay. Yeah, that
I think
does
it's
it.
fine.
Delphina, with quick and agile skill, you pop that lock open, and as the door kind of like swings open with the and as it does, you see a knight huddled in the corner, and he makes direct eye contact with you.
do we all see the door? Like, do we all see
Yeah,
this?
do we see this?
Did you guys follow Delphina up the stairs?
Micah was going
followed.
where Percy went, so
Percy would have followed.
Okay. Yeah,
They're all
you all see him. You guys make eye contact with him. He
Man,
makes eye
yeah,
contact with
yeah.
you. He makes it for the window.
Percy immediately is going to go and like grab at him.
Make a dexterity saving throw for me.
can Micah also lunge at him?
Delphina's jumping on him.
Oh Jesus! Percy. Oh God. Percy. Oh God. Percy and Delphina. You guys pounce at this guy, and you grab him very firmly. You kind of like snatch his legs. One of you snatches his legs. One of you snatches his midsection. And I need you guys to make another dexterity saving throw for me.
Come on. There we go.
Can Mike?
Oh,
Wait, hold up. Can
uh-huh.
Micah use plant growth to anchor the guy in place?
Roll it for me.
It doesn't like have an attack roll.
Oh.
It-
Yeah, I meant like put it in the thing. Thank you.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that you're. I don't know. Can you use that where you're standing?
Are we like upstairs?
Yeah, you're like upstairs is the thing.
It doesn't specify if you have to like. It just says within a specific area.
All normal plants in a 100-foot radius centered on that point. There's like grass underneath it. I
Oh.
don't think that would work here.
God damn it. Okay, Micah's just gonna go for his feet.
Yeah. Oh god.
Bruh.
The first thing that came to mind.
Delphina and Micah. Delphina, he manages to smack you off of him. I'm gonna say that you're the one that went for his legs. And you being thrown off of him, you get thrown into Micah. You guys can like collapse on the floor together. Percy, you still got like a hold on him, and he's like smashing you into like the side of like the wall to try and get you off of him.
Percy like try like grabbing like his head and like slamming it down as hard as he can, like into the wall or floor.
Roll me strength.
Oh boy.
Oh Jesus Christ.
Oh yeah.
Hell yeah, come on, Percy.
Beat some ass.
Percy, the guy is like, he's not wearing like he's wearing like a leather helmet. He's got like more so like leather armor on than like the regular like metallic ones. So you kind of like smash his head against the wall, and it like literally cracks his like leather helmet off, like cracks it into pieces, and it kind of falls off. And he's sitting here like swearing at you, like trying his best, kind of like clawing at you to get you off of him. You can see like his nose is starting to bleed a little bit, and I'm going to need you to make another dexterity saving throw for me.
Wait, can I do something?
Yes.
Yeah.
Can Micah turn into a bear using wild shape?
A bear in this room?
Yeah!
It's a brown bear. It's not that big. And with a
brown bear?
Yes, and
Those things are big.
And with a grapple, can he restrain him?
I don't think you'll
bear? You mean like a black bear? I think black bears are the small ones.
Yeah.
Black bears are the small ones.
And I
Brown
mean,
bears are fucking massive. I was like, Jay, I don't think you know how big those ones are.
I know. I can't say that.
I know. We've talked about
we've
before.
Talked about it. But yeah, can Micah like roll strength to grapple him?
Yes, you can.
Wild shape. Okay, so that is a 20 plus 4.
So Percy.
Wait, that's
Percy, your dexterity saves you from this guy pulling out a dagger and trying to stab you essentially. It kind of like skids past you and hits the wall instead.
During this whole time, Percy's face has just been like completely straight faced. Just like maybe like his eyes are kind of like a little like. The way I would describe this is that I guess like as if like you know like how like like owls like their eyes are wide and their like heads are kind of like tilt a little. That's kind of the vibe of Percy right now, just like staring down at this guy,
Jinx
trying
vibes.
to get a hold of
Honestly,
him.
slay for him. Good for him. Percy, this guy is like trying like his fucking best to like get you off of him, and you're like spider monkey fucking clutched around him. As he's like slamming his body against the wall. Micah, with that 17, your bear self is able to fucking like grab him. And you kind of like you take Percy with you a little bit as you like kind of like push down and like grab him and grapple him onto the ground and take hold of him.
Micah very threateningly, as a bear, moves his jaws over the guy's head.
What are you gonna do?
He just holds it there. It's a threat.
Percy's
roll me. Roll me. Is it intimidation?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Roll me intimidation.
Ooh.
Is-
Oh,
Oh!
Wait, is this guy just like limp noodle hanging with his head in the fucking jaws of a bear?
No, he's
I mean-
like, I'm assuming that Mike is like on top of him, right?
Yeah, like Micah's
Okay.
like on top of him, just like holding his jaws there.
Okay.
Micah, roll me a dexterity saving throw.
Say,
Yeah.
do you want me to roll like with the brown bear stats or what is Micah's stats?
I guess.
well, he's a brown bear.
Yeah,
Brown
I guess.
bear, so it,
Wait,
Yeah, I guess
Can-
it's brown bear stats.
Okay.
can Delphina roll intimidation?
I guess.
You said dexterity, right?
Yeah. Micah, you just barely avoid a dagger to the eye. This guy, like, it misses your eye, but it kind of, like, skids down your neck a little bit. Not, like, super duper deep, but, like, you feel it. Delphina, what are you intimidating this man over? Like,
Antagonizing? What are you talking about?
what are you making fun of this man for?
Making fun of? She would never. Okay. She's a lady. She's gonna jump up and stomp as hard as she fucking can on his hand that he just tried to stab Bear Micah with.
Oh my god.
And she'll lean down and is like, you're gonna tell us anything and everything we want to know. And we'll make your death quick and painless. If not, we have plenty of time and plenty of ways to keep you alive.
Micah growls
So-
so exaggerate that.
yeah. And Percy kind of like grabs like from under fucking Micah's bare jaws, like kind of like grabs the guy's face like hard, like kind of like on his cheeks.
Mhm.
And he's like, you know,
Don't-
we will to do that. It'll be really fun. I'll be honest.
to
so-
give the extra effects, he's gonna smile and like have her very fun little vampire fangs all out. Just a little extra pizzazz to the intimidation.
Micah also growls again to accentuate her point.
You can see like the fight has like left this like knight, and he's like sitting there and he's like breathing really hard and kind of like glancing nervously like back and forth between all of you, and he goes, all right, it's not worth it, fine.
Good boy.
What are you guys intending on doing with them?
Micah flops his big hairy bear ass down on the guy and just waits for the other two because he can't really speak in a normal human voice right now.
Eldrick,
Percy
where is he?
Just oh yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
You're good. You said it first.
Sorry, what'd you guys say?
Eldrick, where is he?
He went back to Alatanos. He took the remaining people there.
What are they
I don't-
doing to these people?
Yeah,
Why-
what did you do to everyone?
They're being cleansed.
Cleansed.
Cleansed? This was not a cleansing. This was a massacre.
That's what you do when you commit the sins that you do. They cleanse you. They take you and they cleanse you for the Father.
Can she, like, rip out one of his teeth?
Oh my god!
Yeah!
Roll me
Micah
strength.
Wait, can Micah put a hand on the guy's head to make it easier for her to like get
Yeah.
Like,
Get off.
pry it back?
Yeah,
Yeah,
both.
so she can have advantage.
Yeah, both of you roll me strength.
Guys, guys, what are you doing?
Can Delphina just get like advantage on this?
Pike
Yeah.
is-
Actually, yeah. I get
You
what
know,
mean.
Pike, if this is your, you know, cup of tea, as it were, you could probably step out in the hallway. This is gonna get, you know, a little messy, so.
Delphina, you can roll again if you want to see if you can get a higher roll.
Okay. Not really, but...
Delphine, you try, and you kind of like you can't like get like a firm grip on his teeth. Like it kind of like you know, you kind of like get a firm grip on it, but like it's not like very easy. You kind of just like knock around on the inside of his mouth.
Delphina, what are you doing? Wanda, what is she doing?
Pike, just step out in the hallway.
Why?
It's not gonna be pretty, so.
Like, we're getting answers.
How will you get answers from a tooth?
First he
Can't
just
speak.
smiles.
We're getting
They're
answers.
in the mouth. They're not the mouth.
We're
Micah
getting
just makes
answers.
the points.
It's okay. We have more parts we can break on him. It's fine.
Micah kind of like motions towards the guy's hands and fingers.
Why are you breaking bits? How does that get you the truth?
Well, he's gonna want the pain to stop.
Guys, I think you might be doing a bad thing.
Yeah,
Hey.
left to the, you know. I mean, he did a bad thing first.
Pike, go. Let us do this.
But it's a bad thing. I'm not supposed to do bad things.
You
Caspian.
don't have to do this. Like I said, you can go. You don't have to do this.
That's why
You can
we're
leave.
doing it.
Exactly.
Caspian will be really mad at me.
No, he. Well, if he. Why would he be mad? You didn't do this. He would be mad at us.
Tell Caspian
not
he can
you.
deal with me if he has any issue with what we're doing. Now, please
He'd be
let us
mad at
work.
you.
Caspian
promise.
said if something bad's happening, I should try and step in because that's what brave people do.
Oh.
Percy just kind of like looks down and sighs, and he's like, "Just please, just go step out in the hallway. You don't have to witness this."
Like, we can have an argument over morals and ethics later. For now, I want to get information.
I think this is probably the best time to be having an argument about morals and ethics. Is when the moral ethical quandary is happening.
Academic Pike.
You're gonna save me. Pike, unless
Best
you're
talk
going to
is
help
some of
us,
those words.
unless you're going to help us extract information from this piece of scum, please leave.
Do we have any dead bodies of them around?
Of who around?
Of the knights?
None of the knights seem to have died in this. There's like villagers, but not like knights themselves, it seems.
Didn't we
Wait, don't-
kill a couple?
Yeah, didn't Delphina eat a paladin here?
Delphina ate a paladin,
Yeah.
but that was
The
That
paladin
actually-
the paladin was probably like disposed of at this point.
unless you want to revivify Delphina's stomach.
That would be funny, actually.
I do want to know what would happen if we did that.
Delphine's gonna look down at this man who's just witnessing this weird ass conversation.
He's like wide-eyed and staring.
If Micah like got out of the wild shape, would he lose kind of the like sort of like would anything change because of Delphina's intimidation?
You'd probably have to roll a strength again just to keep him like pinned down.
Okay, I'm not gonna come out of the wild shape then. God damn it.
He's gonna look at him and just kind of like cutesily pinch his nose and like violently grip it. And it's like, all right, we have some more things to discuss here.
Guys, if you let me take a rest, I can cast a spell which will make him tell the truth. You know that, right?
Ooh. That's fun. What kind of spell?
There's like an area, and if you're in the area and you get hit by the spell, then you have to tell the truth.
Is it Zone of Truth?
So
Does Pike have Zone of Truth?
Yeah, hell yeah!
It's on the cleric spell list, Pike has Zone of Truth.
Oh
Hell
my
yeah.
god, I'm about
Okay.
to shit myself. myself.
I am
This is the
so
best day
happy.
of my life.
Okay,
This is the
so-
best day of my life.
Delphina's gonna like frown and look over at Percy. Do you want to do this my way or her way? Not her way. Sorry, their way.
Oh my
Sorry.
god, Delphina.
Fuck.
Oh my
yeah.
god.
I was thinking
Hey!
of Delphina.
Pike looks over their shoulder, looking to who Delphina's talking about.
Oh my god.
A woman?
Micah raises an eyebrow at Delphina.
Well, that spell seems quite handy. It would make our job a lot easier. Could always. He kind of says this very quietly.
We can dispose
So
of him
only-
after.
Yeah, so only like Delphina can hear. He's like,
Yeah, Micah.
Micah can hear too. Micah can hear too. Whispers to Delphina and Micah. He's like, you can always have fun with him later. And he's kind of like smiling at the two.
What have I done?
Delphina looks at Percy and like just kind of like looks at him as like, this is not fun. This should never be fun.
Percy,
This
You
is-
can have a little.
Percy, you highly disagree with that in this moment.
What? What is?
I said, Percy, you highly disagree with that at this moment.
It's like that. Can be fun. Really fun.
Delphina's gonna look back to Pike. It's like, okay, we'll use your little truth spell. I have some rope in my pack. We can make sure he's bound in a secure place, so you
Micah,
can question him.
Micah huffs as if to say, thank God I can finally get out of the fucking wild shape.
It must be so hot being in a room as a bear.
He's just sitting there sweating his ass off. He's like, I would like to be a normal human again, please. He's wanted to contribute to the conversation so bad.
He's tried to, but it's just come out. It's like, "Roar, roar, roar."
Literally, like, every so often, like, Delphina and Percy, like, have a pause in the conversation and Micah tries to contribute and they just look at him and he's going like, oh.
Like in Brother Bear.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
All right, let's tie him up.
Micah, the bear, moves off of the guy little by little so they can tie him up.
Pumpkin, do we have any issue tying this man up? Please, for the love of God, say no.
I'm gonna say no. I'm gonna say you guys properly get him tied up.
Micah goes back into his normal shape and he just breathes and he's like, God, I'm fucking sweaty after all that.
Delphina, like, once he's, like, tied up and secured and everything, Delphina goes and stands next to Percy and, like, kind of looks at him and is like,
Can I help you?
We need to talk later.
Ooh, am I in trouble?
None of your glibness now. But no. But we need to talk.
Glibness.
With that,
Did you say glibness?
glibness? Yeah.
Like glib.
What's it?
It's a word. It is
Oh
a
my
word.
God.
No, what is it? What does that mean?
Oh my
I
god,
don't know.
Pumpkin.
Actually, to be honest, I don't know. But
That,
like,
shit,
I
is,
kind
that shit is going in my vocabulary.
It's
all I know is that it's spoken a lot in Dragon Age Inquisition, and I kind of have an idea of what it's supposed to mean. But I assume Fraz knows better.
The quality of being easily fluent, especially in a way that is thoughtless, superficial, or insincere. That shit is going in my vocabulary. I learned a new word today.
And okay, you would not survive if I somehow speak like Cheryl fucking Blossom. Can you imagine if I actually was able to like make Delphina talk like that?
Oh, I would
Oh my
cry
God.
probably.
You would.
my unintelligent brain would pop. Anyways, what do you
You'd
guys
be like, what does this mean? Bert and Ernie.
anti-disestablishmentarianism? What are you guys doing? What are you guys doing with your now tied up friend, so to speak?
Percy wants to find like a closet to like shove him in.
There's plenty of
Like,
closets in the inn rooms.
He's just gonna find like a random one, and he's just gonna like shove him in there.
Fucking nerd.
You shove the knight in the closet.
And he's gonna like he closes it, and he's gonna move some sort of piece of furniture in front of the door.
Oh god! All right.
Delphina like moves us off him and is like, we have to question him still. Pike needs to cast their truth spell.
They said they needed like a day to cast it, right, Pike? Or
did I miss that?
Too busy talking about glibness.
I didn't have it prepared, but we probably had a long rest since I last prepared my spell, so if Pumpkin allows it, I can say that I switched the spells up.
Yeah, you guys have definitely had a long rest between them, so.
Oh, all right, then Percy
Okay.
will probably would not have shoved him in the closet yet.
Okay, I thought you were just like, fuck this dude.
I assumed that like Pike needed time to prepare it, so I was like, okay, let's just shove him somewhere
Oh, I was like,
to
I
keep
mean,
him like.
I'm down, like, give him that fucking claustrophobia, I guess.
Yeah.
So what are you guys gonna do then?
Pike.
Pike,
Do your thing.
Pike, cast Zone of Truth. Knight, gotta make a charisma saving throw.
Is this one of those things where everyone has to make a?
Yeah!
Oh God!
Oh boy.
Wait, we all have to make that?
I think everyone within a 15-foot radius has to make a charisma saving. Oh.
Wait.
Micah does not make it.
Would we?
Pike
Wait,
also
okay.
doesn't make it.
Yes!
Delphina
Come on.
makes it. Delphina can lie.
Yes!
He can lie.
We love girl bossing queen!
My guy got a
What?
3.
The two people who should not be able to lie right now.
Literally.
Can. Oh my god.
Pike. Alright. It got him.
All right. What was the cleansing thing?
He looks up at you all and he's like, when people perform sacrilege, when they go outside of their bounds of what is expected of a holy citizen, they must be cleansed of their sins, and so our paladins do.
Which sin was that?
Aiding the bloodsuckers.
It seems kind of like a bullshit sin.
On whose authority?
On Idris's. The Father does not allow such vile creatures to be wandering about as they wish.
Oh, but they let you all out, so kind of hypocritical.
You are sort of bloodsuckers in your own right.
Yeah.
Didn't you hear? There are other gods about.
And yet you live in Idris's land. You dwell on Idris, you eat Idris's food, you feast from his crops, from his beasts.
Micah,
I feasted on one of his beasts.
Oh.
Micah just looks around and he looks down at the floor and he says, "Oh, I had no idea Idris birthed this wood from his own bosom."
His people
Yeah, quite-
built it with their own hands, and then they
I
turned
think
their
Rosefield
backs on
made-
him.
I think Rosefield made it pretty clear that they had no intention of being indoctrinated by you all.
No one chooses who they're born from. That doesn't make it not so.
Oh. See, the thing is about familial matters is that you can choose your family, actually.
Clearly they can't if they took the cleansing anyways. He still
Oh,
has
Doc.
his hold.
Oh. You're just a piece of shit, aren't you?
I work in his name and nothing more.
How do you get into Alatos?
get an Alitanos through the gate, and he deadpans at you, Percy.
Oh, you know that's not what I meant. Come on, let's try again. Where are all the entrances to Alatanos?
There's an entrance through the crypt in the graveyard outside of the city.
Ooh. See, that wasn't so hard.
Is
Doesn't
that
have to
guarded?
be
The entrance typically is guarded.
But how many men?
3.
3. Oh, that should be easy. Is there anyone guarding inside the entrance in the crypts, or is it smooth sailing into there?
There are usually several guards posted inside of the tunnels.
Are there traps about?
There are no traps, only guards.
Hmm.
Where does it lead
That's-
out in the city? Where's the exit once you're through?
It leads out through one of the side cathedrals and leads out into the main parts of the city.
Are there any entrances that aren't guarded? Anything that isn't guarded because they would assume that no one would be stupid enough to go through that way?
All entrances are guarded. No one leaves Alitanos without someone knowing.
You people are no fun. But
Those large, fancy little crystals you people like to tout about that negate magic. How many are there, and are there any ways to break them?
There are 5. They can normally be broken with blunt force if tried hard enough.
ooh,
Do they have any effect on the saints?
Micah, he looks at you and he kind of makes a face that makes it look like he doesn't know.
Useless.
How often are the people raided to see if they're supplies, or just because whatever tyrant wanted to that day?
When you rate it depends on whether or not we think that you're harboring bloodsuckers or monsters.
Interesting. How would you suspect that of someone? Do you just pick a person off the street and suspect they're cavorting about with these villainous bloodsuckers?
Idris's children are everywhere and they watch and they observe and they tell us.
Perhaps he should stop fucking around so much then.
yeah, maybe we should mind his business. That sounds.
Everything is the father's business.
It's really not, really.
Really isn't.
Like, I really doubt my sex life is really any of his business.
I doubt that my own, crying in the bathroom things are his business.
Mike, he looks at you really weird. he's like, you do look like the kind to cry in the bathroom.
Micah gives him a winning smile.
Oh my god.
Delphina waves her hands. Why were you here? Why were you locked in that room?
They left without me and I was afraid that someone would discover me. I thought that they would come back and they didn't.
Oh, that must really suck, being left behind by people that you trusted and respected. Probably won't be coming back for you, honestly.
He doesn't seem to have an answer for that because he probably knows that they won't.
Yeah.
Delphina kind of chuckles and looks over at Percy. It's more than likely, they probably suspect that he got taken down by some of the townspeople.
Oh, yes, that's so
You
embarrassing.
probably
Oh,
think he's
so
already dead.
pathetic.
Yeah. They probably won't even mourn you.
A failed night. Goodness.
Too
He's
bad.
just beaming at this guard, at this paladin.
He's just glowering at all of you.
Oh, did we hit a nerve? An
Ooh.
emotional paladin as well. See, this is probably why you were left behind.
He's mauling.
Oh, you poor thing.
And to think, you, a very well-to-do knight, got your ass beat by 3 people who were taken off guard. You really are pathetic.
Yeah.
A couple of gays.
You did.
He just kind of like stares, like, he kind of like glares at all of you. He's like, "Is there anything else?"
Oh, we're gonna make you cry.
We'll do that here in a bit, Perseus.
Uh,
Now, there's no way that all of you are keep coming and going from Altanos. Is there some sort of fortress nearby where you little pests hide out and resupply at?
There are several strongholds located throughout the district.
Oh boy.
this would be fun.
How many, to be exact? I need
4.
exact numbers.
4.
4?
Where?
There's one a few miles from here. There's one that's stationed in between Alatomus and Molessia.
North, east, southwest?
Fucking, directionally challenged fucking, DM will tell you later. There's one between Alessa and Alatanos, and there's 2 between Ativus and Alatanos. He stares at all of you.
Do you know the names of every single paladin in this raid?
It was mainly Aldrich that was leading the charge.
Oh, that's not what I asked, though. I asked for the names of every paladin that took part. Aldrich included.
He seems to, like, kind of, like, struggle. He's like, I only know of Aldrich. There may have been others, but he was the only one I know that led it.
How
Do they
about your
all-
name?
Yeah, what's your name?
He, like, kind of, like, glares at you guys up and down, and he, like, unfortunately, like, kind of, like, chokes out Matthew.
Matthew.
Well, Matthew, don't worry. We'll make sure. The grave is very deep and unmarked.
He just kind of, like, fucking scowls at him. He's like, the father will put me in my place.
In your
I don't
place?
think the father will be too happy with what you've accomplished here.
You know, I don't think your little father would be very happy if you turned into something like me before we killed you.
Oh, shit.
Excellent idea!
You see,
know.
like, you see a very specific fear kind of pass over his face, Delphine, and he goes, no.
Oh, do you see that?
He's gonna walk over and just lean down and smile right in his face with her fangs, like, right there. It's like, you know, I think...
Force
I'm about to. I'm about to forcibly feminize you.
You hearing it, femboid?
good Francis gender.
Oh my god.
I'm about to home your sexual.
She grins at him and just kind of like runs a finger along his chin. It's like, I haven't fed in quite some time too, so
You
know, I would need a very deep drink that would just put you right there on the brink of death. And you know, I do want to keep you alive so we can answer some more questions. And the only way to do that would just to make you just like me. Then you and I would be one and the same.
He's like kicking his legs at this point, like squirming as hard as he can, trying to like, get away from you, Delphina. He's like, no, no.
You know, Delphina, you really shouldn't deny yourself holding back for so long.
I know.
Yeah, you must be famished.
I really, really am. No, thank you. I'm glad I have such good people looking out for me here. Can she go ahead and like
Yeah.
Pumpkin? Can she do this?
Yeah, she can bite him. Go ahead.
Okay, do you need me to roll for that or?
No, he's tied up. You can't get away from
Okay.
you.
Okay, I was like, I don't.
No, you're good. You can bite him.
she's gonna just go all in on that throat, just like rip it out,
Oh
like
god. Delphina,
unhinge that jaw.
Delphina, you tear this guy's neck out. You splurt blood all over your face, all over like your companions behind you. It goes over the room. You like ripped open a very important vein in his neck, and he's kind of like just like fucking like blood spilling out of his mouth, out of his nose. He's like fucking heaving at this point. It's like gushing everywhere. The floorboards are like soaked by the time that you're done. And he just like very slowly, very like quietly starts like succumb to it. And he kind of like falls to the ground with like a loud thud. And he kind of like slowly sinks into not being alive anymore.
How does she need to bring him back? Is she just gonna like force feed him her own blood now?
I thought you ripped his throat out.
Oh, not like all the way.
Oh.
No.
Oh, okay.
No. She's hurting him. She's
a bit out.
Yeah, I thought you just ripped it out. Let's see.
No. She's turning him into a vampire. She was just gonna you know, have some dinner first.
Yeah, you can probably pour some blood in his mouth or something.
Okay, she's gonna just bring him to the brink of death and do that. And you know,
Delphina, after several agonizing moments of him just like he writhes in pain as like the kind of venom from your bite, so to speak, kind of like begins flowing through his veins. He's like screaming. He's like, "Father, forgive me! Forgive me for what they've done!"
Oh, God. You know, from what you've told me, Father isn't the forgiving type. I think you're fucked.
How could you just succumb to your sins like that? Oh. Very disappointing in you.
You see a very fucking disappointed knight just kind of sitting there. He's like heaving hard. He kind of blinks, and kind of like the whites of his eyes have gone black, and his eyes are like a very like bright like golden yellow. And he's kind of staring at you, and he's like, what more could you want from me?
Oh, I'm just kind of having fun now. I know I said it shouldn't be fun, but that was a nice little meal.
Just listen to me more. I know when things are fun.
No, you're not in your right state of mind. I was hungry.
He looks confused at you.
She's gonna look back and like shrug. We're in a truth circle. I can tell you the truth.
Strokes.
Anyone else have some questions for our new little vampy fellow?
Not particularly. I do have a few things I'd like to get done as
By all means.
Ooh, actually, I have a couple. Now, since you're just a lowly little knight that's disappointed his father, you might not know this, but you might be able to redeem yourself if you do.
He looks at you.
Ayla, is that how you say that city name? I can't.
Yeah, Ayla.
Yeah, you make these cities that are so cool, but I am fucking so bad at pronouncing anything, even in real life. Pumpkin.
To be fair, like, you'll ask Pumpkin to pronounce something, he'll give you, like, different answers every time.
That's
so.
true.
That's
very
true. It's so true.
I'm like St. Petersburg, anyways.
St. Petersburg. I hate you.
Anyways, what are you guys doing?
St. Petersburg. Ayla, now, I know you and your little paladin buddies have been trying to advance your father's agenda outward, or someone's agenda, that is. Do you have people in the city of Ayla?
We have people hoping to look into it and take it over eventually.
Do you know their names and where they can be found?
He, like, shakes his head.
Who would know?
Likely one of the High Paladins. Alexander Aldrich.
How often do they go out of Alatanos?
Alexander only makes the trek when things are of very important matters. Aldrich likes to make the word of the Father very clear to those living amongst the land.
So we might find Eldrick out amongst the people, you say? Outside the safety of the walls? Very interesting.
Very interesting indeed.
Right. Right. Well, hopefully some monster-infested town doesn't run into him sometime soon.
Oh, that would be terrible.
He looks at you guys.
He smiles back. How did you find a meme that has the word Ethan?
What the fuck?
What the fuck?
I don't want you to be Ethan, I want you to be Daddy.
How'd you do that?
I didn't edit it. I didn't edit it.
I can tell. That's like,
Oh, it's
That's
'cause
real.
The kid's name is Ethan. I'm sure he was, like, fucking doing something weird.
no, I think the dude's name is
Oh, Ethan
Nathan.
Fielder. Okay, never mind.
Okay. Sorry. Anyways, so Delphina is gonna kind of step back away from her newly turned vampire. Well, I think everyone is done with their questions, right?
Did Micah have something? Or.
Mecca just had some stuff that he wanted to do outside.
Oh, okay.
With the knight?
No.
Oh, okay.
Remember the questions I was asking earlier about, like, weapon making stuff?
Yes. Okay.
Oh,
Okay. Good. I
okay.
thought you meant like, oh, we're dragging this bitch outside. All right, dig your own grave,
Yeah.
motherfucker. Like,
Also, I think Wander had some stuff as well.
Yeah.
Well, not for the paladin, but outside.
You guys, I'll let Percy and Delphina continue to fuck around with the dude upstairs. Yeah, Delphina, not Delphina. Micah and Wander. What are you guys doing?
I mean, Wanda's been down there the whole time they've been doing this. They kind of went to check out the memorial garden to see, like, how big it is. Like, is it a fenced area?
The memorial garden is about the size of, like, a house plot, almost, if that makes sense. It's kind of small, like, as though a small house had once been there. There's, like, a little, like, they've, like, turned, like, what was once that house's plot into, like, a garden.
Is there land around it?
Yeah, it's like a little field. There's a couple, like, small trees.
Okay, they're gonna do their best while everyone is talking to just start burying people near the memorial garden.
No. Wander, you find in total about 6 dead. And you manage to kind of bring their bodies over, and you kind of properly kind of bury them in these graves.
that is what they were doing while everyone was talking.
Gotcha. And then what was Micah doing?
Micah is gonna go see if he can scavenge any weapons that some of the knights may have had, or paladins, like anything that looks essentially not like something that you would find in Rosefield, anything that looks nicer, or like has any symbols inscribed in it.
Micah, you go back to the tavern, and you kind of like run around a bit, through like, kind of what looks like was Maddie's living quarters almost. Not going into anything like of her like personal things, but you kind of like open closets, take a look around, and you notice that when you like open a door that kind of looks like it would almost be like a bathroom or something. It's kind of like a larger closet that has like suits of armor. There's like a couple different suits of armor. These look like either Alatanos knights, Alatanos like scouts or whatever, and a few Alatanos paladin suits of armor that look like they had been stuffed into the closet after they had been lured there. There's a few swords. They're just kind of either regular like great swords or short swords. And there's one shield sitting there.
Can Micah cast Arcana checks on all of them first to see if there's any magic intrinsically built into them?
Yes, you can. There is fuck off magic enchanted in a lot of these.
Mm.
Specifically the armor.
So magic wouldn't work on...
So, yeah, does it, like, stop any and all magic?
Are you talking about the magic?
Like, the armor and the shields. Like, does it have, like, I don't know, does it just, like, stop magic in its tracks?
No, the stones inside of the city do. This is just, like, seems to be, like, blessed or, like, some kind of, like, magical armor.
Can he tell what kind of, like, type it is?
It's not divine. Is probably the best way I can put it.
Okay. Is it the same enchantment that is built into the swords or not?
Yes.
Okay.
It's all kind of like similarly the same thing that is like enchanting. It's the same enchantment all around. It just is more prevalent within the armor. If that makes sense.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I get you. Can Micah like does Micah like recognize like the make of these swords or like what materials were used in them from his experiences?
The swords themselves just seem like a normal kind of like very strong iron.
Mm-hmm.
The armor is a little bit more difficult for you to place though.
So he just hasn't like seen it before.
Likely not. Like
material.
the weapons seem to be of average like material, like iron, steel, leather. The specific like paladin armor seems to be very specific to like Alatanos though.
Okay. He's gonna like jot that down. And he's gonna like jog up. Well actually, no, he's not gonna ask. He's just gonna like write that down like idly on something, kind of make a note of it. And he's gonna go like tell Percy and Delphina about like the weapon and armor store and kind of like warn Delphina not to touch the weapons because they're made of iron.
Delphine and Percy, what are you doing?
Is it just Delphine and Percy in the room?
I think Micah came up to talk to you guys, I think.
Oh, right, yeah.
Yeah, I think Pike and Walter
yeah.
were in there, so he's just kind of like making the rounds and letting them know about the weapons store, but he's not really like grabbing anything.
What are you doing with this man corpse?
Not worth eating.
Probably best to get, rid of him.
Yeah.
Probably
Would,
wants to be put out of his misery too. Poor
yeah.
thing.
Would Foxglove eat him?
Ooh!
There's a
Sounds
very
good.
interested chirping noise coming from Percy's bag.
This man's still alive, right? Like he's sitting in the chair. as we
Foxglove doesn't care! Foxglove doesn't give a shit!
Good. All right.
That sounds
I-
like a wonderful idea.
Yeah.
I'll step out
We-
of the room
we-
while that happens.
Percy, I will leave you to have a moment with this fine young gentleman, and with Foxglove. I think you've earned that. And she's gonna like just step out of the room and close the door.
You
Or is it
guys,
just Percy in the room with the guy? Or is Pike still in here or anyone else?
I probably left.
Alrighty. Percy looks at the guy.
the guy stares up at you, Percy, and he looks down at Foxglove, who is sitting in the palm of your hand.
Have you ever seen a fairy before?
Beasts of the wicked.
Oh, yes. A perfectly appropriate name for them. They're quite horrible creatures. And you have the honor of meeting one before your death. Isn't that exciting? A lot of people don't get that experience. Well, they kind of do, but they're being mauled to death by them. But it's fine.
Percy, there's tears in his eyes.
Oh. Now why are you crying?
You can hear him chanting a little prayer under his breath.
You poor thing. You think prayers are gonna save you now? And he just kind of grabs his face. He kind of shakes it a little. And he's like, I hope you rot in hell. And then go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Honestly, I didn't know where I was going with that. Go ahead.
No, yeah. He's just still sitting there crying, staring at Foxglove in your hand.
Make Foxglove eat him from the inside out.
Ooh, that's a good idea. But he's like,
That's me out of character saying that, but
I know. We're going for that. Percy,
from the outside the door.
eat him from the inside. Percy's just like, well, so is this your lucky day? Foxglove? Go ahead.
Percy, you watch as Foxglove forces his way into this man's mouth,
Oh!
down his throat. And
Oh,
the screams of pure fucking agony are one they ring out through the tavern. They ring out through the empty village. You can
What?
see if you were to look at the tavern from the outside, you would see the splatters of blood splatting across the window. You can hear his sobs and screams and just the veracity of his dismay as he's completely consumed from the inside out by this fairy until there is nothing left but a blood-covered
blood,
little... There's-
Splash up Percy.
Yeah, blood splashes all over Percy. You have chunks of paladin on your shirt until there is literally nothing left but just a blood-covered Foxglove staring down, licking his gross little fairy hands and staring up at you.
Why was there screaming?
I assume that Foxglove just had a meal.
Our little friend is taken care of.
Percy like wipes off the chunks. Probably doesn't help. This man's covered.
Doesn't he have prestidigitation?
Oh yeah, he has that.
Or whatever.
He's gonna use prestidigitation to like clean himself up. Here, Foxglove.
Well,
And he'll open the door. And he's like, "Well, that's taken care of." He said he found swords of iron or something.
Yes, it appears that, well, Maddie was keeping a few leftover stores of armor and weapons she had collected from Wayward Knights.
Smart.
Anything valuable or usable?
Well, they're well-made weapons and armor, but I don't think that either of and any of us would want to wield them.
We might.
To be
These-
frank,
these-
I certainly don't want to wield them myself.
Understandable, but we might send word to Eudenius and let him know so he can collect them. So, even though he says he doesn't have an army, it's better to have some weapons,
It's
or at
true.
least more weapons.
Anything helps.
well, with that, I think that's maybe a good place to stop for now.
Holy shit.
It is really
Yeah.
late.
Yeah, sorry guys.
No, you're good.
Teehees.
That was so much.
I'm having a great time. Are you guys having a great time? I'm having a
No.
great time.
Tired.
So much has happened. So much development between all of the characters.
So much happened that feels like several lifetimes worth of stuff that just happened tonight.
Micah and Delphina went from like literally like going at each other like fucking cats to like bonding over torturing someone.
You know.
Literally, like, they're sitting there, like, trying to devise the best way to make this guy talk. And, like, earlier they were punching each other out.
Yeah. Also,
Wanda's just staring at them like, if it works, it works.
Also, because- oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, because there's probably gonna more like torture stuff in the future. Is there anything like that? Like, because we won't do teeth stuff again. But is there like anything else that anyone like is like has a fine line of like grosses them out?
I'm gonna
Obviously.
pop a trigger list in the server just for people
Okay.
that can put a like, hey, I'm not fond of this. Don't put it in things, and that'll. Or you can privately DM me if you don't want to say it out loud.
Yeah. That's
Alright,
a good
yeah.
You could just make it like a list we can all edit, and
Yeah,
we can.
I'm just gonna pop
throw
it.
on.
I'm gonna put it in general
Probably
shit at the bottom.
Okay.
Yeah,
Alright, awesome.
and you can pin it too, so that way we can always
Yeah.
access it.
Alright.
Yes,
Yeah, that's a
I'm
good idea.
sorry about that, Finch.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Oh, it's fine, don't worry. It's not like it's been like brought up or anything.
We just want to make sure.
Yeah,
Right? It's
Don't
kind of
want
like
it.
the early thing, so
yeah.
everything
Don't
else is fine.
don't want anyone to be uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, gamers. I gotta go pass out. Thank you, stream.
Good
Yes.
night, gamers.
Good night,
I
gamers.
have a
Good
hair
night.
appointment, so I have to go.
Good night.
Good night.
Night.
Night.